Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another series or another two series today. So I thought we'd kind of hit it with a late night stream, pretty much. Continue with the series that we have yet to cast, and hopefully everyone's doing well. Welcome to, of course, UEC. If you guys don't know what this is, it's a prize pool tournament that hosts some of the best players playing this game as of now, and it's going to be an interesting series for sure. Also some interesting games. Without further ado, let's head into game number 1 of the first series. I want to double check real quick the map. I don't think this has been sent in the right order. No, it's been in this perfect order. Once again, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 1 of the first series. Kaiserklein versus Snub. Going to be an interesting series for sure. I've played against both of these players. I only played a single game against Kaiserklein. Absolutely got destroyed, but played quite a few games against Snub. And usually Snub is known to be an Ottoman main, something he likes to play quite often. He likes Cav Archer builds, he likes Abbas gun builds, he likes a lot of Ottoman styled gameplay, but in this case he's kind of switching it up, and I have to ask myself, why Hauser on this map? I'm not sure if he plays that much Hauser. Maybe he's just really prepared for the specific tournament and decided to kind of add more civilizations to his prize pool. And Hauser would be the perfect civilization to add to your civilization pool, not your prize pool, of course. So in this case, he is playing Hauser versus Kaiserklein, playing as the British civilization. Of course, on a map with livestock. Kaiserklein going for the age 1 trading post. So heading in some of his guanaco, picking up some llamas as well. And the other side, Hauser scouting the map in a very fast pace. Curious to see what kind of build he goes for. Finding most of these llamas in a really nice early style momentum shift here. Just using his Explorer. 5.75 movement speed is kind of big, considering the fact that most European explorers have 4.50, so you can definitely manage to get some of these yaks faster, or some of these llamas faster than your opponent. Village dogs being researched from the granary. Also has some villagers gathering that food next to the granary, getting the 10% bonus. 4 llamas so far, 5 llamas, 6, 7 llamas now on the way to the town center of Hauser. Also has a treasure in his base, which will give him 3 stray llamas, so that's a very easy target for him. One great thing about Hauser is that they're able to use their llamas at the livestock market for other resources and also just fatten them up faster. So it's really great. Like, doesn't get the shine it deserves always. Kaiserklein playing as the British civilization. I always look at this matchup as quite a good matchup for Hauser. I think Brits can play H2 with the governor and also just kind of control the middle of the map. But I think their unit quality goes down. And I also feel like the mass of Hauser can definitely keep up, and they can have access to H2 Lafidi, which is pretty much unkillable for the British side in H2. Basically, you have a really well scaling British civilization when you look at Hauser, in my experience. Obviously, the design is very different. Or a little bit of a bug going on here in the TC. You can actually see the single guanaco is spawning inside of the TC. So this is going to be something that is going to affect him for sure. There's less food that he's going to have available. Not that it necessarily matters. Even has a food treasure in his base, but not going for food treasure. What is going on? Is he going for building a second TP? He's got GMT in his deck. No way. Are we actually going to see it in this specific game? H1 GMT. No VC. No standard 3 vills. Age up. GMT 2 TPs. Brits age 1. Would make sense. Would make sense. And indeed, he has the GMT on the way, plus 91 XP gifted to him, and with that double trading post, he's able to afford this as well. Genius move. Crazy thing about this is that he's also going to get a trading post with this card that he's sending in H1. We want to mention that he's a long way away from aging. 135 XP actually being picked up by Kaiserklein. Nice. Just to kind of add to the fire, having 3 TPs on the way, and then also 135 XP on top of that. His XP curve is insane. Kind of fueled right now. You actually see the second Emir being sent in from Snub, but Kaiserklein not really fearful of the second Emir. Just gotta stand and fight this. Realizes one Emir is very low, can't really fire and stand. Just gonna focus that one down and then kind of focus his attention on the second one. Less hand attack, you have to imagine. Actually, the same hand attack. 6 hand attack versus 6 hand attack. I guess more range attack here. We see the trading post from the GMT card now coming in. Great thing that he built this aggressive TP in the middle. Could have, of course, been taken. Wouldn't even had the time to place that. So really nice move there by Kaiserklein. Just keeping this slot safe for the TP to kind of get to safely. Also wants to build that TP fast because he wants to age and benefit from this. So no point when you're just about to hit H2 to add that TP. If you guys don't know what GMT does, essentially reduces the cost of his age up by 20% per trading post that he has available to him. That's 20, 20, 20, 60% minus on his age up. And just look at the top right screen. Insane. That age up's coming in so fast, he can barely even keep up. Keep up is also the kind of right word here, because what is the plan here for Kaiserklein? I mean, sure, you age up fast with this, but what does this do for you, Kaiserklein? I mean, you need kind of that transition time to build barracks. You need that transition time to build marketplaces, potentially, or just manor houses. And now just kind of you sped up your whole build order by doing this. Is it going to be worth it? That's the real question. You know, fast age up sounds good on paper, but when you're in the mix and you have that fast age up, you usually can't keep up. Empty food also being found. And also, like I said, wanted to mention that he didn't find this other food treasure down here, which would have increased his age up time, but it's no biggie, I guess. Snub Kebab has pretty much all the llamas he could find on this map. Transition chopping a lot of wood. Sending the Hauser Kingdom. So go for the standard Hauser build, which seems like that's the meta. Go for Emir of Katsina. Get the TP as well from this. The double Emir. Have enough XP to send in Hauser Kingdom and have a shipment ready in H2. And then just skip Polaku Code. I guess Polaku Code is when you want to go for 10-10 strategies. Kaiserklein on the other side of the map, sending in the wood first. Interesting, following this up with the 500, with the 5 vills. So I guess if we look at this, the fact that he has 3 TPs, he's able to send in 2 shipments faster in age 1. He's able to send in 2 shipments in age 1, age up faster, and then also, of course, have a shipment ready in age 2. So I guess the whole idea about this fast aging with these extra TPs in the GMT card is that you scale better or faster. You have more momentum because you're age 2 sooner and you're able to send in those crates faster. It's a really good play here by him already. See the third TP being added here by Snub Kebab. Could maybe transition into the Berbers. And indeed, sending the Air Berbers. Ships a Berber Nomad villager for each trading post and town center you control. Really good card. Used to be the old school build for Hauser, but not really seen too much. I think Kynesie does him and then it kind of adds Marksmen, Corsairs afterwards. Something you've seen quite often in some ladder games, but yeah, I like this variation here from Snub Kebab. I like the fact that he's playing Hauser, which I haven't really seen him play too much. He's definitely either practiced this or kind of just switched his whole gameplay, kind of matched this, and huge matchup. Hauser vs. Briz, really good for Snub Kebab, and of course, maybe even good for Kaiserklein with the strategy that we now see. 5 minutes and 56 seconds into the game. First barracks being added for Kaiserklein, has another shipment ready. So after sending the 700 wood and the 5 vills. Not sure what he was talking about. Playing a bit that some resources one picked up. Maybe that 700 wood that he needed to make the barracks. Almost like Kaiserklein heard us through the screen. Only 7 manor houses for Kaiserklein. Outpost in the middle. Nice micro on the side of Snub Kebab. I like the fact that he's making raiders versus these outposts and these trading posts. Of course, they have the high siege here for Hauser. 26 siege damage. Can take out these trading posts and the outposts quite easily. Kaiserklein making musketeers from the barracks. A little bit late though. Outposts will go down. Could actually be a really tough game here already for Kaiserklein. He's losing the mid-map position. He's losing his first trading post, which isn't the biggest deal, but the fact that his timing is quite late with the units is quite strange. But I actually now see he's stacking for an age up, but will that age up really be good if he loses all of his TPs? It's just going to be a slow age up in that case. Snub Kebab probably should focus down more of these TPs. He has all the time in the world. Maybe add some more raiders, maybe some Fulanis. He's doing exactly that. So there's a lot of TPs to work through. Don't think he's actually going to get the other 2 because the musketeers will be there to apply some range damage. So something that Kaiserklein's definitely thought about. Age up now coming in. The Adventurers, so the 7 longbows. Snub Kebab adding Akan. Really bringing out the old school Hauser here, or kind of a different variation of playing Hauser. So 4 Berbers into 4 vills into 5 Akan, and now these Akan are kind of like splash damage musketeers with a very effective price. Does he have a skin for them as well? Not sure if there's a skin being added here. Almost looks like they have a skin. So a really big fan of these Arcan units. 19 range attack, 1 splash, 19 siege, 10 hand attack, 170 HP. Cost-wise, 75 food, 40 coin. Riposte does go down for the British. Good start here from Snub Kebab, but he needs to act faster. He needs to go quickly. Age up is already in. I don't think it's going to make any difference now. Age up about to come in. Longbow's coming in as well. And shipping ready in H3. So this build order is really strong here from Kaiserklein. Kind of a semi-boom fast fortress, right? He's got 38 bills and he's H3 at a really good time. 8 minutes and 12. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. For Brits, very impressive. Longbow's not coming out. Will have multiply damage against the Arcan, and lucky for him, also has the anti-cav available. Could have popped the Miniman, but needs to macro correctly. Even has the house as a choke, but also needs to be wary of the Arcan splash damage. If they focus onto some of these 95 HP Longbows, that could be really effective, but in this case, nicely standing his ground in front of his TC as the TC5 popping the Miniman. Maybe be a little bit of a bait here. Doesn't have the Explorer in the front line to snare. I don't know where the Explorer is. Actually down. See, I don't think it was the best Miniman pop, but I guess he's never really sure what to expect. And one thing he does have to expect is those Falanis doing a lot of damage to his Musketeer mass. Only a few longbows available. It looks like he does have the superior mass here in terms of unit size, and 2 emirs going down. A lot of XP awarded to him, also pushing his opponent back and also being an H3, sending in the 8 vills. What a genius build here from Kaiserklein. That's a pretty smart build if you think about it. He realizes that he kind of sacrificed a lot of booming potential by not going for VC and adding mana houses. But now he's sending in the 8 vills. Essentially, that's just going to be like booming, right? He's going to be at 48 vills. And that's like a full mana house boom, pretty much at 7 or 9 minutes. A little bit late, but I mean, better to be 48 vills in H3 than 48 vills in H2, if you ask me. And maybe just 1 minute behind. I think that's pretty good. Really, really good. How's it also kind of a slow burner civ, so he doesn't really have a lot to be scared of, unless this was like a full-blown rush or full-blown timing push. It feels like Snub Kebab was just making the right units that he saw fit at the time, right? He saw TPs, he saw outposts, he thought, okay, Raider's going to be the better unit to make, have a lot of siege damage. He's just kind of adapting on the fly, not really going for any sort of all-out push. And I don't think there's much follow-up here for Snub Kebab in terms of aging. I think he's just going to stay H2, and I don't think it's going to be very effective. Kaiserklein is going to mass up more units, make longbows, have musketeers, have an insane eco, 30 vills versus 48 vills. Kaiserklein has 18 vills than his opponent and is 1 age ahead. Doesn't even get the great coats. Almost lost a vill there, but going to be fine killing most of these raiders as well. Really nice move by him, and he's not really in much of a rush to even push because he's just kind of establishing himself, stabilizing, maybe waiting for his next shipment. Has the Falconess on the way, obviously wants more anti-cav. Even upgrading his Huss. Interesting. You can see Snub Kebab, as a reaction, he's making a fortress in the middle of the map, kind of holding his ground, wants to buy himself time to potentially age, but trying to match the age up of his opponent isn't going to really be that great, because the fact that he's going to be matching the age up of his opponent means that he's not going to be aggressive in H2. So he's going to literally lose this, right? This is just here to buy time. This is just here to buy time. And then he reaches H3, and his opponent's been H3 for like 3 minutes longer than him, or 4 minutes, or 5 minutes longer than him. He's so much catching up to do. So momentum is just huge, and he couldn't do anything in H2, and I don't think he's going to be able to do much in H3 either. So the musketeers, are they trying to look for something here? Could actually go for the outpost that's still building. Actually use the influence to get this outpost. Even using the 5 siege on the Miniman, using everything he has available to him, not even leaving the Miniman behind to kind of defend some of these raiders or raider attacks. Raiding raiders, I think should be the wordplay there. $4K ahead in score. Sending in the 5 Hussars, trying to match this with also full batch from the stable. Really nice timing. Beautiful timing here from Kaiserklein. 5 musketeers. 5 Hussars, or 4 Hussars, yeah, 5 Hussars and musketeers. Really, really nice unit control there. Beautiful macro from him. You're gonna fight this. Icon versus normal British Musketeers. A few longbows in the back line. Interesting here. I guess maybe with the Hussars, he's gonna be able to tank enough damage or supply a lot of damage. These Icon do have quite decent hand attack versus Cap, but I think they're already pretty low and pretty scarce in terms of numbers. And as you can see, the Hussars actually managed to clean up here. Really nice play here. The confidence in Kaiserklein's play is insane. Just realizing, okay, 10 Hussars is easily going to wipe this with the Musketeers and Longbows in the back line. Even going for the timing push, even though he knew Icon were going to be trained. But I guess he would have hoped for Falanis to be trained because he knows that's the worst unit he could face up against with maybe some Javelin Riders. So getting a free 2 Vills here. Wakan's coming out. You can see how cost effective they are. H3 now coming in as well for Snub Kebab. Didn't really catch his age up, but I see Berber Camels, which makes me believe it was the Berber Camel age up. So these are essentially melee goons. Hopefully Kaiserklein is fully aware of this. Is putting his Musketeers into melee versus these melee goons will be enough, I think. And now the full volley of these two Falconers taking out most of the Icon and doesn't manage to hold this, but it's quite a challenge here for Kaiserklein for sure. But when he does clean up most of those Berbers and those Lafridis, a lot of exposed villages for Snub Kebab, and the two Falconers are just going to rip on the infrastructure of his opponent. See, the Berber Camels have 2 times multipliers with 27 hand attack in melee. Even the micro of the single Hussar is beautiful right there. It's leaving all of those Falconers unexposed. Not even scared of any sort of Javelin Riders. Man, the confidence here for Kaiserklein is pretty insane. I mean, look at the score difference. It's great trades back to back to back. And even if you are playing a very strong civilization, those trades will definitely add up. And Kaiserklein has been really dominating this game so far. And I think it's due to the fact that Snub Kebab he's behind many steps. Like, I think it's just purely build order. His build order was beautiful. It really was good. It's just Kaiserklein had the better build versus his. The fast age up into Musketeers, Cannons, 8 Vills is just insane. Whereas staying in H2 longer when you're not doing any damage is always worse, in my opinion. Unless you're like going for some sort of economic bonus, but I don't think it's... You can see 29 Vills for Snub Kebab, 66 Vills for Kaiserklein. 66 Vills. Sending in the Musketeer attack. And the smart thing that Kaiserklein is doing right now is I think he knows that there's no way for his opponent to kind of spawn Javelin Riders out of nowhere to counter these Huss. So that's why he keeps on training the Hussars. You really wouldn't train Hussars versus your opponent, but when you have a good feel against Hauser anyways, most of the times, because you always expect him to have more Javelins than anything else. But he just knows he's been taking good trades. He knows his opponent's training Akan Falanis, and he just feels the game really hard right now. Therefore, just realizes what kind of unit composition he needs to go for. What a trade he's taking here. I mean, wow. That is insane. These trades are incredible. Not that it matters much. I mean, look at the score difference, but I mean, just to sum that up, that was pretty much the game in a nutshell. Interesting game. I mean, Snub Kebab played a really strong Hauser. Like, this would have probably won against pretty much any 1,800, 1,700 elo player, respectfully. But Kaiserklein just ready. That's the best way to say it. Just ready with his build, going for the GMT card. So he went for the GMT, triple trade post, went for a fast age up, lost 2 trading posts or single trading post. Just went for semi-FF, 5 Vills, 700 wood, 5 Vills, 700 coin. And then in H3, send in 8 Vills. And then you send in the Falconets behind. But even Kaiserklein making that GMT card look very good. Very impressive. I think we head over to next game. You can see up the... I want to see his boom real quick. Resources gathered pretty much on par. This is why I say Hauser is quite strong against Brits, because the Brits even go for a semi-FF boom, getting extra villages. Hauser can still keep up. See him. So 9 minutes 17, 49 Vills, 7 minutes 36 Vills. Maybe the age up time as well real quick. So age up to the second age around 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Third age around 8 minutes and 21 seconds. Very impressive. Alright guys, I'm going to load up the next game. Big shout out to everyone who's already here. we're just getting started. We've got a great amount of series on the way. We have Rohbrot versus Kynesie, and we have Snub versus Kaiserklein. Also want to remember, Snub is a very good player. Kaiserklein also, of course, a very, very good player, as you guys surely know. There's going to be quite a nice a few set of games. Everything's possible. So let's see. And I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second game of the Kaiserklein versus Snub series from the UEC tournament. This is going to be quite an interesting game. Germany versus Ottoman. Snub on the bottom side of the map. Texas playing as the Ottoman civilization. Currently going for the mosque opening, chopping a little bit of wood, adding a trading post as well. Of course, something you see Ottoman start off with quite a lot. It's a very, very standard start here for him. Very strong start indeed. And of course, another civilization that has a strong start is the German civilization. Marketplace in the middle of the base from the German side, getting his hunting dogs at 45 seconds into the game. I always admire the speed that some of these great German players get the hunting dogs in. I mean, 45 seconds is impressive, but I'm sure Kaiserklein would say I probably could have gone that earlier. 40 food treasure being picked up as well. And one thing we've noticed about this map in previous games or previous casted games is that you have a lot of food treasures that you can collect. You have 50 food here, you have 40 food over there, you have another food treasure over here. So this is kind of a really food heavy map in terms of treasures. And this could benefit both sides quite huge. Of course, Ottoman have the faster age up. And imagine when they find food treasures, how fast their age up's going to be. And as we see, 1 minute and 15 seconds, house, hunting dogs, marketplace, everything being built. And now it's just the 800 food that he needs. So I have some livestock towards the left side of the map. Also want to check out some of the natives on this map as well, which is something that many people don't really pay attention to. So you have Apache natives on this map. Apache cavalry, very good. I believe they can go invisible, but I might be mistaking them with the with the other ones. But these are really, really good rifle cavalry units. And you also have some tanks here. Villager speed plus 15, villager HP plus 15. Land military speed plus 5%, really good for Inca units. So Kaiserklein pick a 35 food treasure up in the middle of the map, and then you also have Apache cavalry plus 1 multiply against villagers, so it could be really good at raiding. As we said before, Kaiserklein just picking up a 35 food treasure just previously. Now, let's see this treasure being contested by his opponent. The funny thing is that he literally walked past the Ottoman explorer, and Ottoman's still going for it. But I guess he has his crack shot on cooldown, so if he manages to kill that one cougar and then crack shot, will it be enough? It actually is. Does get the treasure easily. Kaiserklein had all the time in the world to take that. I'm not sure what happened there. Snub is going to be quite happy about that. He's going to say thank you very much. And HP-wise, oh wow, look at this. Kaiserklein's explorers on 178 HP. The Ottoman explorers on 248. Kaiserklein is going to just back off it, but not before he kind of steals away his opponent's sheep. Or cow, should I say. Yeah, imagine if Kaiserklein got that 100 food treasure. That would have been really good for him. But as a result, Snub now aging up a lot faster. 2 minutes and 20 seconds, I think his age up was. That is insane for villager age up for him. Every single villager now on the wood line for Snub. Also want to mention that Snub is an Ottoman main. And this is his best civilization. I also feel like he's one of the better Ottoman players in this game at the moment. So this could be his chance to kind of pick up a game from Kaiserklein. But you also have to keep in mind this is, of course, Kaiserklein's game as well. He's playing his main civilization. He's also playing a civilization he knows very well, right? Ottoman is, I would say, Kaiserklein's second main, or one of his side mains, if that's the right way of saying it. In transition, Kaiserklein 7 vills on wood. Hasn't yet built his trading post. Explorer is close by, though. We'll build that trading post, but in the meantime, Snub Kebab on 2 trading posts. Gangster actually being researched from the marketplace, a little bit late. Actually got the Gangster after he dropped all of that wood, so it seems like a big misplay here by Kaiserklein. For his standards anyways. Silk Road also coming in here for Snub Kebab, really great card. So this card essentially gives you 25% extra income on trading routes, but then you also have 25% extra resources on your crates. And something you often see Kaiserklein do is that he won't gather all his crates when playing Ottoman. So he might just skip the mosque or something else, and he'll leave some of the wood crates on the floor, and then he'll send in Silk Road, and then his starting resource crates will get that 25% bonus. It's genius. It's like every inch of potential squeezed out of that card is beautiful, but in this case, Snub Kebab not doing that. Just going for the mosque and TP start for now. Ajo now coming in. Quartermaster, 400 wood on the floor. 3 bills on coin, 5 on food. 2 villagers, I would assume, being sent forward indeed. But look at this. Look at where he sent his villagers. Just underneath the vision of his opponent's explorer. Like, very poor timing there for Snub Kebab. It's kind of giving away his entire strategy in a matter of seconds. Let's find himself up at 75 wood, though. Not sure if Kaiserklein was paying attention, though. Of course, he was aging up himself, so he's probably distracted building houses and stuff like that. I'm not sure if he saw that. Oh my god. You know what's crazy? Look at this. And no one knows. No one knows. That is so funny. That is so funny. Literally. Now with the line of sight coming in. Wow, Cellar Wagon building that barrack so fast. And now they have a problem right here. Of course, it's going to be a huge front base wand. I feel like it could have favored the Ottoman if he had built that barracks sooner. He aged up a lot sooner, but those 2 villages were so late to get to the forward base position. So now, essentially what you're going to see is, you're going to see Kaiserklein train the only ranged infantry unit that he can train. And then you're going to see Snub Kebab train the only ranged infantry unit he can train from his barracks, per se. But one counters the other, and that's going to definitely be favored for Kaiserklein with the crossbows versus Janissaries. Curious to see if Snub Kebab even decides to train Janis. Does have Janissaries in queue, 5 of them. Also has the stagecoach on the way. Hunting dogs coming in from the marketplace. And Kaiserklein just waiting. He just waits for those Janissaries. But yeah, to his luck, actually managing to survive with those, or some of those Janissaries. I'm not sure if 3 actually, did 2 actually die there? I think 2 may have died. I'm not sure if he got the full batch out. Yeah, I think 2 Janissaries actually died. Really great trade here for Kaiserklein. Ulan's now coming in to the base of his opponent. Gonna find this Vil. Not only getting a nice little counter pick on those Janissaries, also getting the perfect counter unit, but also getting a free Vil here. And if he manages to keep these Ulans alive, that's just going to be an added bonus. And that's really what's going to establish him from every other player, right? Every other player would have lost those 2 Ulans, but Kaiserklein actually managed to get a Vil on top of Janissaries and escape with the Ulans. And I'm not trying to oversell this. I'm just trying to show you, like, how great this guy is. Insane. Definitely see tournament mode switched on, and just like that, I mean, he's already technically 2 steps ahead than his opponent, which is so crazy. It's just so insane how he does it. Almost like he's favored by the gods for a split sec. So potential here for Snub Kebab, but he's gonna lose his barracks. And I'm not scared about the resources that he's losing. I'm more scared about the time that he's not gonna be able to train units. He's got the stagecoach on the way as well. That's something he's going to need to defend. If he can't defend the stagecoach, then he's literally invested into a stagecoach for nothing. There's Germany sending in the 700 behind this, just really poking with these Janissaries. Ideally, what Snub Kebab would need here is like a bunch of Hussars or Abbas guns. Because he's actually making Abbas guns. 5 Abbas could be the game changer here. You also have to remember that Germany gets free Ulans from his shipments. Of the fog of war here for Kaiserklein. Don't like the positioning of those crossbows. He just wants to keep those pikes alive for a little bit longer. Only siege that he really has. More lands coming in from his shipment. First TP going down. adding a second barracks in the middle of the map. Has another shipment ready. Oh, nice play there by Snub Kebab denying this TP. Kaiserklein trying to be extra cheeky. Build this trading post, claim it from his opponent. Just get those benefit bonus resources, but very low HP on his side. So Snub Kebab currently 1,500 behind in score. So stable being built. I guess with that free wood that he received for not building the trading post can add a stable now. Just maybe try and age up, maybe soonish. So those goats alive in the beautiful position here. You love how your pro players use their livestock to kind of body block. Look about trying something here. He's trying to be aggressive. Realizes with the Abyss guns, he might just have a window, even sending in the 3 Hus. Not bad. Could actually work here. Maybe just pick off a barracks, but the thing about this is the crossbows are going to snipe down some of these Janissaries. And you need the Janissaries to protect the crossbow, the Abyss guns. So it's kind of it's a weird situation to be in for sure. He needs to always avoid the crossbow fire, really, and just constantly train Abyss gun, Janissaries, in my opinion. I think he should just maybe drop down a second barracks and just spam Janissaries. I think the amount of Abyss guns that he has is enough, but first barracks going down for Snub Kebab, and now it's starting to turn around. I mean, a barracks for a barracks. Also rebuilding his TP. So it's those 3 hostiles alive, which can of course kind of shy off those crossbows. And Kaiserklein just waiting, as we see here. Just gonna wait until that barracks is almost half HP, and then he's gonna go for the kill. Will it be enough? That's the real question. Janissary's in the front line, but look at the crossbow mass, and look at the Ulan mass as well. Getting a nice little pick off on some of these Abyss guns. Nice mark on the side of Kaiserklein pikes, dealing with the Hussars. Janissary's trying to deal with some of the crossbows, but there's so many crossbows out on the field, and the Abyss guns have slow rate of fire, so they won't be able to do the craziest amount of damage. They kind of have bonus damage by keeping their distance. So we're about trying to kill most of the Ulans and then kind of escape the snare from these pikes, which is ideally what he needs to do, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to survive with most of his mass. 2 Hussars still alive, actually doing a really good job at killing some of these Ulans, and I guess trying to kill some of these pikes while keeping his Hussar alive, but it's just too much stuff right here, and that's just the benefit of Germany. You have so much early eco potential, able to just spam units and overwhelm your opponent with such an explosive push, even putting his pikes into guard mode to attack some additional damage. So you can see kind of the stakes in terms of gameplay here from both sides, just really trying to win this game. Yeah, that wasn't bad for Snub Kebab. He really microed that. Really beautiful micro on his side. I mean, it was very hard. So much units that he needed to defend against and still managing to hold his own. Very impressive. What's the follow-up? That's the real question. You know there's going to be more Orlands on the side of Germany. He's got the stable up. And now you think you got the Abyss advantage, right? Now you think you can kite and poke. That's what he thinks. But little does he know. Little does he know Kaiserklein is one step ahead and has those 5 Ulan waiting for him. Actually not going to go for it yet. Right, still on 2k HP, being healed up, so he's not really in a rush. Doesn't want to really give away what he has just now. Currently 3k, oh sorry, 2k score ahead. Maybe we're going to wait for that second batch. More crossbows coming off the barracks, being seen by Snub Kebab. Snub Kebab on 24 bills. Kaiserklein on, I guess, 31 or something. You have to imagine the stagecoach doing some work, but now the huge Ulan mass being massed up, coming out of the fog of war. Completely unexpected here for Snub Kebab. Didn't really feel like there was going to be a stable added, but as we said before, Kaiserklein just 2 steps ahead. Trying to snipe some of these Ulans that are, of course, low HP, but doesn't have enough anti-cap. Might just need to pop the Miniman, sending in the 5 Janissaries from the home city, but I mean, depends on how many Abyss guns he loses right now. If these Ulan manage to kill most of these Abyss guns, the crossbows would just pretty much idle the entire economy of Ottoman, kill most of the Janissaries, and it's going to be really hard for Snub Kebab to manage to catch up because even the stagecoach can't kind of carry you when your villagers are being idle or even worse, killed. Beautiful micro by him. I mean, he's trying to kill most of these Janissaries with the Ulan in melee, but it's not going to be very effective. Kind of just need to trim down the Abyss guns. I think it would have been worth it to suicide some Ulans for Abyss guns because they have roughly the same value, 150. I think they actually have the exact same value. 50 food, 100 coin for the Abyss guns. Okay, never mind. Interesting game. Because Kaiserklein can just pretty much chill after this. Could even be aging, technically, but I played this in H2. You've seen Lavender do this quite often. Play Germany, H2, make it look very effective against, you know, some of the strongest H2 civs in this game. So pure crossbow, pikes, and Ulan. I think maybe he could just fight this, snipe most of the Janissary, sniping with some of the Ulans, but playing this very cautiously. See the trades here for these Abbas guns. But he's struggling to produce them. That's the thing. His trades before weren't the best. He's lost a lot of units in those kind of explosive fights. And his eco isn't really great. 21 vills. I mean, Kaiserklein's on 30 vills. 30 plus vills with the Cellar Wagons being double. Oh my god, the Abbas gun is completely out of position, but Janissaries will be shortly there to defend, but it's not going to be enough. I mean, 2 Abbas guns just getting right-clicked. They kind of melt like butter. I mean, of course, very susceptible and vulnerable to these Ulan raids. I suppose really doing the hard lifting, though. Every volley that they get on these Abbas guns is just a bonus hit for Kaiserklein, and he's getting 2 of them. Wow, just 2 Abbas guns like that. Just these mini trades so good right now. And you can see it affected in the score. Abbas guns being trained from the artillery foundry. So he's being trained from the barracks, but sending in the 600 coin, I would assume. So already sending the 700 coin to afford the Abbas guns, but really can't push past this point, whereas you also have to ask yourself, Kaiserklein has a stagecoach, better villager eco, and just has a I mean, kind of strange how to put your finger on this. Like, why is he so good? Why is Kaiserklein so good, right? That's the real question. It doesn't seem like Snub Kebab necessarily played bad or, you know, he did anything out of the ordinary. It just feels like Kaiserklein just, he gets incredible trades, like micro trades that just build up. Like, it started off with the barracks, crossbows, Janissaries. Like, barely 1 minute into H2, he already was able to burn on the barracks of his opponent, despite having the slower age up. It's just like, how do you do that? Now H3 coming in for Kaiserklein as well. Still able to defend his barracks, I mean, very easily. He could easily clean up some of these Janissaries and Abbas guns with pure H2 units whilst being H3 behind. He's gonna play the safe, never really overextending, never really taking a fight that's not good for him. Even if he is ahead in like 6k, almost 6k score, he's still just gonna play this very safe and kind of to how he wants to. Safest. Not too safe, but just safe enough to not lose the game. Wow. Huge raid here for Snub Kebab. Oof, that is painful. 4 vills going down, and maybe even see a double-sided raid. Those 2 split raids of Ulan groups. Villagers also idle on the TC. 2 of them. Not sure what most of the villagers are for ultimate. Oh my lord. Oh my god. Full push now coming out for Snub Kebab. Desperation push. I mean, he just doesn't want to end with a fight, but you look at the Miniman pop, the Ulan pop, he's got so much stuff, and the fact that he's playing like this, he's ahead 10k ahead in score, and he makes his opponent feel like he needs to push him, kind of, which is insane, right? That's how he plays. He actually makes you believe, right? It almost feels like you're winning, and then he punches you like this. If there was no score, you know, it would be different, but what a game. Interesting. You see the strength there from Kaiserklein for sure. Yeah, interesting game from Snub Kebab. Played pretty well. I guess just unfortunate. I mean, the barracks and seems very hard as well. I mean, not the worst pick here. Interesting one. Not sure what to say to them. Got the resources for both sides. Guys come with the better economy. Ottoman don't have the best economy. They have 3 villages that they train, but they don't have settler wagons. Their villages don't count as double. So maybe they do save food. Potentially, of course, be food that they invest in units. That's maybe one way of seeing it, but 4k resource a lot. That's 4 Hussar batches. Alright, guys, I'll load up the next game for you. 2-0 for Kaiserklein as of now. I'll have to see if Snub Kebab makes some sort of comeback here. He was playing a lot of African civilizations earlier, so maybe we can see him whip out another African civilization, or maybe even another DE civ. Can maybe just catch Kaiserklein off guard. 2 seconds, guys. I'll load up the next game. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout out to everyone in the chat. Big shout out to Pogo Play. Big shout out to Old School RTS. Big shout out to SimSimi, Julian Pasha, everyone else. Finally, we have the first series of today's stream. The second series of the overall streams is going to be Rohbrot versus, of course, Kynesie afterwards. And for now, we have Kaiserklein versus Snub Kebab. 2-0 currently for Kaiserklein. Really putting up some great fights, playing some really strong AoE3, just pretty much, I'd like to say flawless, but you can see there's some mistakes which aren't crucial, but for Kaiserklein standards, this is mistakes he usually wouldn't make. But I mean, the way he plays is very, very heavy in terms of mind play and just being ahead, taking some of these great trades. But also want to give a big shout out to Snub Kebab playing as the British side or as the British civilization on the top side of the map Dunes. Playing a really strong game himself, going for some interesting build orders with Hauser, doing some really cool stuff. I said the bloom effect. I don't think I have the bloom effect available, so I'll just fix that real quick. Sorry about that. Yeah, as I said, doing some really cool stuff with some of these African civilizations, and now spawning on a non-TP map as the British. Obviously won't have much use for the GMT card. Could maybe go for some sort of Virginia Company card. Finding himself a nice food treasure in the middle of the map. Being scouted by Russia. 30 food for him. Not the best treasure, but not the worst. This Klein doing a lot of damage to the Explorer of his opponent. Kind of trimming down his HP pool very early on in his base. For the house start, leaving the 100 wood on the floor. Really just hunting down this Explorer of his opponent. Doing the famous Kaiserklein, which we often see, but giving up another treasure to his opponent. This is an XP treasure, 30 XP, but maybe he's going to snoop in for the snare right now. Now he's going to pretty much force Snub Kebab to walk all the way back to his base, which is the sad thing, but Snub Kebab being a genius, trying to free himself from the snare, and actually successful for a split second there, but I have to try again. Kind of what you have to do to free yourself from a snare is you have to hit your opponent's Explorer at the same time he hits you. So you slow him, he slows you, and then you run. He needs to time this correctly. He's trying to... always missing the window. Feel like he's gonna have to... oh, that might have worked. I think that worked. Yeah, that worked. He's gonna be free. Five villagers now coming in for Snub Kebab. Sorry, three villagers coming in for Snub Kebab. Got his deck, he's got Virginia Company in his deck, 4-5 bills. Interesting, 4 bills, not something you usually see. 600, 700 wood, 700 coin, AA, 6 longbows, as well as double HP cards for his musketeers and his cavalry. The Explorer actually in the end being sent towards his town center, so he's successfully done the Kaiserklein, denying information for his opponent, denying treasures for his opponent, just keeping his opponent in the dark, which is what he wants to do. And if you look at the scouting here for Snub Kebab, he hasn't really ventured out of his base too much. Whereas Kaiserklein, he's got a lot more vision over his opponent. And for the 14 villager age up, it seems to be, we'll get a really nice age up time as well. 2 minutes and 46, 7, 8, or 9. Something along those lines. Definitely going to be good for him. Most likely going to see the forward blockhouse, and just Kaiserklein always finding the Explorer of his opponent. Just really doesn't let him leave his base, does he? Just constantly going back and forth, anticipating where he's going to head next just to send him back. This is so brutal. This is really brutal here for Snub Kebab. Like, not even 3 minutes into the game. Just wants to find treasures, just wants to find what's going on, and see if the blockhouse is going to be placed in the middle, what he can expect, but can't even do that. Snub Kebab now with the age up now coming in. 11 vills on wood, 5 on food. Aging up with the governor, I would assume. So the outpost and the 200 coin. And houses being added in transition. Could maybe add a barracks in the start of H2 if he saves up enough of wood. Klein finding himself a wood treasure in the middle of the map. 80 wood. Looted Visigoth spoils of war by Musa ibn Nuzair. Worth 80 wood. Really good treasure for him to get. Going to excel the speed of his blockhouse building. Already sending those villagers forward. Beautiful time for him. Just needs that additional wood, but he's being overly greedy, right? He doesn't want to chop that extra wood, I would assume. And he wants to let the treasure kind of do the work, but will it be worth it in terms of time? That's a real question. I think it's going to be fine. I'm going to assume he probably will have his first batch out by the time he ages up and his barracks goes up. Says the shipment ready. Snub Kebab A-jump now coming in as well. A little bit later, or sorry, a little bit sooner than his opponent. Not too drastic. Also has 300 wood stacked up. Look here. This is very unfortunate what he's doing here. And the reason why I say this is very unfortunate is because he ideally wanted to scout his opponent's base. He wanted to see where the blockhouse is going. But because of all of this sending back, denying the explorer information, he wasn't able to fully scout the map as he wanted to and just wait for that blockhouse to see. And as a result, Kaiserklein is able to build this blockhouse over here. And the positioning of this barracks with the outpost is very off. I think if this wasn't the case, you would have probably seen Snub Kebab build the barracks over here somewhere with the outpost because that's where he wants to fight. And Kaiserklein wouldn't even had the chance to build this here, I don't think. So now it's going to be really tricky because basically Russia can always push the base of Brits. And Brits is going to just have to fight from a weird angle. And I don't think it's going to work too much. I have to see both civilizations in H2. Pikes being trained as the first unit for Snub Kebab. Oh my. Pikes being trained as the first? I don't know why the Pikes for Snub Kebab. This is an interesting one for sure. Because of course, for Kaiserklein, he's training 10 Strelets and he's shipping in 5 Cossacks. Actually setting the Pikes in the right location, so he knows that there's a barracks here, but I mean, there's no way you're going to be able to push that barracks with 5 Pikes. Or even if those were Musketeers and 10 Longbows, I still don't think you would be able to push it. You can see those Pikes just getting shut down immediately. Just killing the Pikes. Cossack also coming in, and as we said, now it's pretty much go time here for Russia. They're going to be able to push the base of his opponent without any sort of retaliation. Strelets on the way. So also training more Strelets, actually getting a Vil here. Kind of working on this with the Explorer, and then the reinforcement of Cossack coming to finish this up. Then a full idol for Brits. Every single villager pretty much in the TC for Snub Kebab as of now. If we switch over to his side, yep. Apart from these ones that were building the blockhouse, they're on wood. This does give Snub Kebab some opportunity to ban on the blockhouse, but I don't think he's going to care about that too much. Just easy defend with the Strelets coming out. Even just purely maybe the Cossack and the Strelets. And indeed, that is exactly what he's doing. Of course, Strelets have multipliers against the Pikes. Also have decent movement speed. Pikes have 5 movement speed. The Strelets have 4.50. Look at this aggressive micro. Putting Cossack onto Pikes with split micro. Some Cossack going onto Longbows. Just really taking some decent trades. Almost like he's been waiting for this his entire life to take just trades that are just godly. The trade god. But yeah, even though we're not trying to make Kaiserklein seem like he's insane, it's just watching him play is absolutely beautiful. It really is. Just pure mastery, that's what it feels like. And he's just so assured of what he needs to do. He literally doesn't waste any time guessing. Killing Vils, idling. Very strong raid by him. Very, very strong. More double Pikes being trained by Snub Kebab. Really not kind of understanding this Pike play here from Snub Kebab. It seems very bad to train Pikes versus Russia because you're essentially hurting your boom. You're on 4 mana houses. Whereas your opponent is just going to kill those Pikes with any unit that he has. Musketeers, Strelets. And I don't think there's any way for Snub Kebab to win this game at this point. I mean, this is just a disaster for him. It really is. It's very different to the first 2 games that we watched it from Snub Kebab, but maybe just at this point, there's kind of the mental here from Snub Kebab, just playing against one of the best players in the game, playing your best game, or trying to anyways, and still getting kind of shut down. But yeah, I feel like training Pikes into Russia onto the blockhouse like speedrun loss. I don't ever see that working. But yeah, GG and well played by both sides. Big shout to Snub Kebab, big shout to Kaiserklein. Snub Kebab, a really good player in terms of playing Ottoman and even Brits. He plays really good Brits as well, but I guess that last game just, I don't think he felt himself. It just wasn't there. Seems like, yeah, first 2 games were really good. And Kaiserklein winning 3-0 versus Snub Kebab in first series of today's stream and round of 16. 3-0. Alright guys, Next game we have, or next series we have, is Kynesie versus Rohbrot, and this is a series that I've been waiting for quite a bit. I obviously saw the card, I was looking at the brackets, and I was thinking to myself, GG, this is going to be interesting. You have one of the most defensive players versus one of the most best, or one of the best timing players, right? That's so good. Like, I think this is going to be a really cool matchup. It's going to be one of a kind. I think there's many matchups that are similar to this. Rohbrot versus Kynesie is just two different styles that I don't think we've seen collide too often, so I'm really hyped. I'm going to waste no time to load up the next game for you guys. Just give me 1 minute. Thank you so much for the raid, Harrison. Big shout out to you. Good time to raid. We are just about to get started. Also, congratulations to Kaiserklein. And also, once again, big shout out to Snub Kebab. Comments to series number 2. Just give me 2 minutes, guys. I'm just gonna restart my game real quick. Also, just change the scoreboard. I just need 1 minute, 2. Guys, it's them. What's up? Chemistry is a noob. How are you, my friend? Welcome.
Sí, lo haré.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second series of today's stream, Kynesie versus Rohbrot. This is a crazy series, something I've been looking forward to for quite some time, as I said before. Of course, bottom side, we have Rohbrot playing as the Spanish civilization, one of his main civs, something he plays so well, easily one of the best Spanish players in this game right now. Coming from Germany, of course, one thing I do want to mention, and yeah, for now, just picking up some of his crates, also finding himself a nice early Humaninka treasure. I want to also give a big shout out to UEC as well as Chemistry Noob. Shout out to you guys. And on the other side, we have Kynesie playing as the Portuguese civilization, leaving his 200 wood on the floor. And Kynesie, known as one of the best turtle players in this game, but also been around the block, been here for a while, been playing so much AoE3 in general, and you have to kind of ask yourself at one point, when is your experience untouchable? How much do you think Kynesie knows about this game? I think it's gonna be a lot. I think he knows so much about this game, which can definitely help him out versus Rohbrot, of course. And yeah, this is gonna be quite the interesting one. And we said Kynesie one of the best turtle players in this game, but we also have to keep in mind that he's also a great player when it comes to other stuff as well. And I guess really picking the correct civilization for this specific title, Portuguese, something that not many people think is strong at the moment. Or maybe Kynesie looking to prove everyone wrong. Maybe it's a civilization that you need to fully understand. Just kind of understand that, yeah, it takes a lot of kind of patience to kind of pull off. And also you just think one thing with the Portuguese civilization is that you need to take good trades with your TC fire, which is very hard for people to kind of do because they don't fully understand when is enough, right? When you stop idling your TC, when you start ejecting those vills. So we'll have to see how this goes for Kynesie for sure. But for now, treasures are being picked up galore on both sides. Rohbrot finding himself a food treasure in the middle of the map. 40 food, a map that we've obviously seen a lot in this tournament so far. In round of 16, this is of course the first map. Have llamas on the right side, a lot of livestock that you can use, and a beautiful array of fish and animals that you can herd here in the left side if you do decide to go on water. Also a great map here for Portuguese in terms of water play, which is why I would assume he picked it. And the fact that he's already eating those llamas is very questionable. So I'm going to expect he's going to go for a 10-10 at a trading post eventually, which you usually would see. But he actually left the 200 wood on the floor, so maybe it's not viable to go for TP. And he's going to save this wood to maybe build an age 1 dock or an age 1 transition dock. And look at the age up time already rolling in here. So maybe a 2-minute 5 age up for Kynesie, or just a straight 2-minute or 1-minute 55 age up with all of these llamas. Indeed, look at the age up time. That's beautiful. Really, really impressive here. Maybe a little of an overreaction on that age up, but I'm very hyped to see such a fast age up here for Portuguese. I mean, you have to think about it. This is literally the fastest age up in the game. There's no question about it, which is not really something that you would say about Portuguese. You'd usually say that about Dutch or Brits or Ottoman, but not really against Ports. Of course, huge eco sacrifice here. Hasn't actually selected a single card as of now. Has a shipment ready, does select his deck, and we catch a first glimpse of some of the cards that he has in his deck. Improved buildings, advanced dock, schooners. So you guys can just kind of get a taste of how he plays, right? This is, yeah, this is no joke right here. So looking to be very passive, but also very common to see a Portuguese deck like this. But it's not going to be fun for his opponent. That is one thing for sure. Speaking of opponent, Rohbrot, pretty much a very standard deck. I guess he's playing on Spain before the patch difference. He's got H2 Unction, which is still pretty much strong as ever. AA, Advanced Arsenal, very important card for Spain. And then Spanish Gold, 2 Falcons and standard stuff like that. But he does have the Frigate and 2 Cavalls in H2 and 3. One anchor being picked up from Rohbrot. Really good Guardian here to use if you want to burn down a TP or something like that. But quite sure what he's doing with this. He's obviously using this. I guess he just wants to scout all the crevices of this map and find every single hunt he has. But what a big map. I mean, so big. 5 llamas picked up for Rohbrot, whereas we saw 5 llamas being eaten from Kynesie. More llamas to come. Transition here for Ports, adding a dock with the 200 wood or the wood crates that he left on the floor. And then also chopping wood in transition with 9 vills on wood. Fishing boats being trained. I guess we have to question the opening here for Kynesie. Going for a 10-10, no TP, but a fast dog. That's, I guess, how you play Ports if you want to play on water and just get a fast timing. Aging up faster, being able to train those boats faster, means that he has more time to make this work, right? Something about water play is that when you go for water play, it can be punished very easily. That's the thing. So if you can buy yourself enough, it's similar with Dutch with the banks, right? Dutch love to age up fast, so they're able to build the banks. They aged up around every other civilization. Like, imagine they age up at 3 minutes. Building a bank there is just going to be so hard because you're going to be idle. Everything's just going to get shut down. And the same could be applied here to the dock. The sooner you get this up, the more time you have to work with and the more greedy you can be. And in this case, so placing a second town center less greedy. I think this is more defensive, kind of striking a fine balance between realism and kind of optimism in a way. Of course, he wants to boom as hard as he can, but he also needs to be wary of the fact that his opponent most likely will push that water. Rohbrot on the other side, aging up to the second age. Also want to say about Rohbrot, you know, many people kind of underestimate him as a player. Obviously, we all know him to be a Spanish god, but he's very composed. I've seen him in many games and many tournament environments where he's actually done a really good job in terms of just taking bad trades or having a really tough game and then just managing to bounce back with pure skill. And it's very impressive. It's a skill that many people don't, a side that many people don't see about Rohbrot, in my honest opinion. I definitely feel like he's going to be aware and make the right decisions in this specific game. But that's what I expect anyways, based on what I've seen in previous games. Passed a lot of Rohbrot games in my time, my short amount of time. And he's not sending in these 700 wood as his first H2 shipment. Also, first H1 shipment was the schooners, if you guys missed that. 16 vills for Kynesie, adding a second dog with the wood that he chopped in transition. TC does go up in the end. So far, pretty standard. I mean, this is Portuguese opening for sure, but it's also very slow opening. You have to imagine, I mean, he's got nowhere near to enough resources to train units. It's like, oof. You have to imagine, I mean, pretty much villager micro here. It's like the only unit you're going to have is the villagers, and defending your base with no military is going to be hard. Like I said, I think with ports, you require a certain mindset. Speaking of mindset, Spain also a civilization that's very weird to play. It requires that kind of timing mindset and also that kind of very aggressive mindset as well. H3 looking to take place for Rohbrot here. Really beautiful macro. Aging of the governor, getting the 200 coin, I would assume. Yep, outpost being placed very aggressively. Almost too aggressive for my taste. See the villagers here. The reason why I say it too aggressive is the, yeah, this could be scouted, right? Kynesie sees this, but I don't think Rohbrot cares too much. That's something about Rohbrot. He literally doesn't care. He knows that you already know what he's going to do, but he's still going to beat you. That's kind of what he's saying to himself. 420 food treasure being picked up here on the side of Kynesie. Not sure how he's planning to do this, but still go for it. Rohbrot is sending in the ATP card in H1. And adding all of those TPs, which we saw. Some dogs in transition, finding himself nearly mature bear cub. And aging up around 5 minutes and 30 seconds. A little bit later than his average timing, but still very good timing. Even though it should have been really fast with those llamas. Sending in the 700 wood. And the reason why he's not able to send in the 5 vills now, which he would like to. So usually he would send in 3 vills, go 700 coins, 700 wood, 5 vills. Is because he sent in the ATP card. But maybe he's still going to go for it. Of course, doesn't have the fast age up. So by the time he's probably H3, he's going to have another 2 shipments ready. Correcto. Lo haré. 2 forward villagers being sent on the side of Rohbrot. I don't know about this. Obviously, you know, Kynesie has the Miniman, you know, he has the CM, you know, he has a lot of options to deal with units, but one thing about this is that he's going to have to deal with 2 Falconets. How is he going to manage to do that? I don't think CM is going to be enough, and CM lose HP, right? It's not like USA where you keep half your HP, or like China, I think, where you can send in a card that makes you keep your irregulars HP as well. Those Minimen, eventually they're going to be really low, and Rohbrot's going to have the time of his life. So unless those Falconets get sniped, there's no real option here for Kynesie. Kill those Falconets unless he trains units. And you can see, this is so cheeky, right? Building a barracks in front of your opponent's nose, like, you know he's going to probably see this, and you're like, you know what's going to happen. Literally, both players, you know what's going to happen. So funny. Only if we switch over to Kynesie, he's got 38 vills in total, setting the CM, kind of already preparing for the worst. Needs to. Also aging to the 3rd age. Wow, impressive. 38 vills, 6 minutes and 53 seconds in. He's got schooners out, no sort of upgrade cards for his units, but he's age 3. That's quite impressive. We'll be able to train some goons, maybe save up for barracks, use goons to snipe the Falks. Yeah, or maybe just send in organ guns. I'm not quite sure how great organ guns are against falconets, but I would assume they're really bad because they're pretty bad against everything in my experience. No offense. Actually added a trading post as well. Just constantly hurting in some of his guanaco. This map has a lot of hunts in general, but it's a lot of berries. Also a lot of exposed hunts. I'm waiting for the age up here to kick in for Rohbrot. Also want to see what age up he chose. Went for the 2 caravels, or the 1 caravel and the 400 wood. Smart age up here from Rohbrot. Wants to raid the water, do some damage. Of course, fully aware that his opponent is on water. And the crazy thing about this is, look, this water is very spread out. This map is very large in general. So when these fishes run out, he's going to have to go all the way over here. So all of this naval defense is going to have 0 effect. One thing to keep in mind here for Rohbrot as well, he's got a lot of time. Also going for the 420, no, 150 coin treasure. Kynesie actually did manage to pick up that 420 food treasure, but I want to focus on the middle of the map because this is where most of the attacks are going to be launched here for Rohbrot. Already training some musketeers in transition. Got the stagecoach with 4 TPs. Sending in the Spanish gold. No sort of H3 timing push. Interesting. I guess makes sense, but I don't really see an answer there for Kynesie in terms of defending that. But in this case, I mean, I guess one thing you can use to kill the falconets if you're Kynesie is the TC fire, right? We kind of forget about that. TC fire can actually kill falconets very easy, especially when you have CM, which increases the TC fire. A lot of stuff going on here. A lot of things that both these players are fully aware of, hence why we see this sort of gameplay. Now it's taking a turn here for Rohbrot. I actually expect Kynesie to be in a good position because, I mean, if Rohbrot can't do his main civilization strength, what has he got left to do? He's been so known for this timing pushes, and now he can't get that in. I find it very unrealistic that he's going to be able to outboom ports, and also in terms of unit scaling, how much better is he going to be? Unction card could, of course, be very effective. See these villagers in the TC able to almost one-shot these musketeers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 15 HP. That's insane. And look at the distance as well. Usually the TC fires... It feels like the TC does less damage the further you're away with your units, but I'm not sure if that's entirely true. Rohbrot sending in the 1k wood after the Spanish gold, sending in the 2 falconets as well. And as we said before, 4 TPs for him, but also 2 TPs for Kynesie, so not the worst there. It's like a 2+ TP stagecoach if you're Rohbrot. And then Kynesie also has the entire waterline. 47 villas, 3 town centers. Sending in the 1k coin himself as his first H3 shipment. Almost there. Oh no. Oh no, I've seen the name of his deck. Naval Fast Industrial. Oh. What is Kynesie up to in this game? What is he going to do? Is he going to revolt or is he just going to go Fast Industrial? That's the real question. The Peruvian revolt could be really scary. Long lines now coming in for Kynesie. Definitely going to give his fishing boats an extra upgrade in terms of gathering speed. I don't like the positioning of these musketeers for Rohbrot. He's losing so many for a single TP, but I guess in the long run it's going to be worth it. Second one is pretty much uncontestable for Kynesie at this point. Falconers from the outpost, even adding an artillery foundry behind that. And the thing that Rohbrot's going to do now is he's sent in Spanish gold, so his coin macro is going to be huge, right? And he's sent in 1k wood. So now with all of these shipments rolling in, he's going to have so much coin to work with that he will be able to spam falconets very effectively. So maybe you're going to see a 5 falconet push on the side of Rohbrot. After he kills this trading post, of course. It seems like he does have a strategy for everything prepared. Going for this Spanish fast fortress strategy that I've seen him do many times. Or this variation of the Spanish fast fortress strategy. I think that he's done something like this versus Lionheart's USA multiple times. And it's very strong indeed. Needs to wait for those shipments to come in. I guess he's got stagecoach research, but he's trickling in XP with all of his shipments. Right? Just shows you kind of his mindset, what he wants to do. Actually managing to still keep that caravel alive. Constantly poking the wards of Kynesie. Definitely going to have effect later on. Another frigate coming in as well, but a little bit of an overkill shipment if you ask me, because frigate doesn't really have any sort of extra resistance against naval structures like galleons, for example. So these just standardly have the normal tag, whereas Galleons have the siege unit tag, which give them extra resistance due to negative multipliers that some of these defensive structures have against them. So he's really not going to be able to push the water much with that frigate either, it feels like. But we're going to have to see Unction being sent after he sent in the frigate. Only getting 2 falconets out. Unfortunate. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more falconets to follow. 4 falconets out for Rohbrot. Switch over to Kynesie, can maybe see what his answer is going to be. H4, and that's pretty much it. Castador is being trained from a single barracks. Houses being chopped. 27 vills on wood at this point. 8 on coin, 9 on food. Getting his great codes, getting all of his marketplace upgrades. And aging up to the 4th age with the Tycoon. So that is the 2,000 coin. Or 1,000 coin. Even has a church. Interesting. I guess always a good idea to add the church for the EXP trickle. Meanwhile, this has a shipment ready. You're just going to hold on for this. Heavy cannons, of course. What's one thing that counters falconets? I mean, heavy cannons can be really effective. Also have to keep in mind, by the way, that the missionaries right here, they also boost the falconets' attack damage by 4.5%. We're going to have to see in bombard mode how much it's going to be. And he's got more missionaries to train. Could have maybe expected a Rohbrot here versus Kynesie. Maybe H4 revolt here from Spain, but not indeed. Now finally pushing in, sees the H4, but he's got a big base to push. If we switch on the Fog of War, we can see Rohbrot hide here. Oh wow, the frigate and the cavalry also getting a piece of the action, killing the dock, but also taking a lot of damage. Going for this really strong naval and land timing push, but will it be enough? I mean, he's got double CM to deal with, he's got H4 to deal with, he's potentially got heavy cannons to deal with. But he does have unction with the missionaries. Affecting these cannons. Can easily kill most of these Minutemen and also take down some of these TCs, so it's going to go really well for him, but we have to see first TC going down, villagers inside of the TC. Oh no, this is a big loss here, and even the Tycoon goal from his H-up is in front of his TC. Won't be able to use that. He needs that, of course, to make more units with it. Of course, he needs to make Castadors and maybe even Cauldrons at this point. Because one thing you know that Rohbrot's going to do behind this is train more Falcons, potentially with the Spanish gold coming in. No damage being done. Second TC also going on fire. Dock's also on fire. And if the dock goes down, the TC goes down, all of the water is going to be exposed. Nice quick warding on the side of Kynesie, able to protect these heavy cannons. Missionaries are trying to get a piece of the action. Not sure if they were trying to do some hand attack against these heavy cannons. Now it's boosted falconets versus boosted heavy cannons. Or just, yeah, straight boosted heavy cannons in H4, very strong. Who's going to win this? But the Minutemen being popped in the TC as well, doing some damage and helping out these heavy cannons. One heavy cannon for one falconer, but another falconer really low, getting sniped by the Minutemen. The last falconer is on 143 HP, but it's going to go down shortly after. And another batch of CM being popped, and you can see the overwhelming amount of CM units being popped, and this is exactly how you want to use CM. When it gets sloppy, when it gets messy, that's when you pop CM. They're just going to be able to soak up all of that damage, deal all of that damage, and then also just be so annoying. You have to keep in mind that it's a one-time thing, however, but it's not a one-time thing when you constantly rebuild your TCs. Rods coming in for Rohbrot, applying some damage on some of these low HP militiamen, which of course do lose HP over time. They've got a long way to go until they lose HP, and heavy cannon also killing some of these just constant Minutemen coming off these TCs is insane. All of the Minutemen managing to clean up the musketeers. Rohbrot losing every single falconet but killing 2 town centers as well as a dock. So if Kynesie doesn't rebuild his TC over here somewhere, that's all of the water gone for him. Frigate's still on half HP, but also have to keep in mind that the heavy cannon can also do some damage versus the frigate. Still on full HP, I think, almost. Rohbrot not wasting any time to shut this down. Very sloppy game from both sides. Very hard game. I mean, this is both players just trying to break each other's brains. You can see, this is why I said this was such a good matchup. Like, just 2 strengths. A huge timing push versus one of the most defensive players in this game. I mean, what could you really want more? can see Kynesie use everything to his advantage to defend his base, and you can see Rohbrot use everything he has to break the base. However, going down to the heavy cannon, I think. And Frigate's kind of in a weird position, but not managing to kill the dog, not managing to kill the boats, but is able to idle. Sending in 5 vols, H3. Unfortunate. Sending a lot of H3 stuff, by the way. 8, 9 rods, 2 fogs, Spanish gold, frigate, 1k wood. Now it kind of transitions into standard Spanish gameplay, where he's going to have to find a way to sustain his eco at the same level as his opponent, right? He's going to have to find a way to have a decent eco versus ports, which is kind of laughable because there's literally, how do you do that? Playing against one of the strongest late game civilizations in terms of establishing himself on agriculture. And just look at Kynesie's deck for a split second. He's got all of these kind of team game treaty cards like sustainable agriculture, economic theory, refrigeration. He's really prepped for the late game eco. Rebuilding his TCs on the right side will also have the advantage of these guanaco hunts. Have a copper mine behind his base. Here we have Rohbrot again, not wasting any time, just squeezing out those 4 fogs once again. And this is really important that he gets these fogs out on time, because now it feels like Portuguese are very vulnerable at this point. He's trying to stabilize, right? He's rebuilding those TCs. He's trying to fix his eco. He's trying to find a way to ship in his H4 stuff. 2 factories, by the way. Rohbrot wants to end the game. These 4 falconets, he might just be able to. Takes out this dog. Another dog being rebuilt. I think this is an outpost. Very smart here from Kynesie. Really, really smart. Even building an artillery foundry. I'm going to promise you that he's going to train culverins from this. Culverins have a 10 times multiply against boats. A little bit too late, but I mean, can't really get that out much faster, I don't think. Look, his resources. 52 bills here for Kynesie. Is ahead in score, 3k. I wonder if it's smarter to train heavy cannons here from the factory first and then switch into other resources, but I can understand. He needs resources like crazy right now. He's only on 52 bills. Spain is on 39. So looking, a lot of potential here for Spain if he keeps this up. Oh no. Oh no. Boat's going down. Outpost, however, is being built. Heavy cannon in position. Bring it on 870 HP. I think he's going to be okay. Get in range. Of course, training the culverin from the artillery foundry. Putting the boats into the dock. We'll apply some anti-ship attack. I don't really want to move from this point because I think it's going to get really freaky. Frigate now going down, 70 HP. Rohbrot has 300 wood in his inventory, sending in the lancers. More missionaries being trained. Musketeers starting to really take shape in terms of mass. Castadors being trained on the side of Kynesie, and so has those Minutemen available, and also has another free Minutemen batch from this TC if he wanted to. Only a single barracks, and culverins now coming out. Also, 2 factories haven't been upgraded yet, so there would be 7.15 if they were upgraded. Houses going down, barracks going down. Rohbrot in his base, Spanish gold on the floor, only 360. Now all of the fishing boats are very exposed, but he can't push the water. Culverin taking out a single falconet and making every single other falconet want to retreat. Obviously hasn't really got an answer for those culverins behind walls. So even though Rohbrot felt like he got a good trade there, killing the dock and other things, he needs to find a way to deal with those culverins behind walls. And I think Kynesie's kind of found himself a little surprised there. So I'm going to assume he's going to train more culverins, of course, and indeed more culverins on the way. So he's definitely going to use this to his advantage. Finds a little... Oh, wow. He did not just send in heavy fortifications coming in for Kynesie. So when you thought Rohbrot had, a glimpse of hope, that's when Kynesie just brings out the big guns. He's going to have essentially fortified outposts that will have a lot of damage versus these musketeers as well as artillery. I remember watching a game, I think it was Kevin versus Lionheart, something along those lines, and or something, yeah, someone that, and you saw Lionheart play USA, and he went for an H4 heavy fortification, and that was the first time I actually realized that these outposts legit counter artillery if used correctly, because of their damage that they have. 16 bombard attack is huge. These falconers get a little bit too close for comfort. These outposts will do so much damage to them. For now, Rohbrot does manage to find himself a lot of exposed villas. Kynesie realizing this is not a safe spot anymore, trying to eject these villagers, and I feel like he's going in the wrong way, but maybe a little bit too late to react, and this could be huge here for Rohbrot. Very hard to push the main base. He might actually kill some of these villagers in the TC, as well as even just deny this map control. It could be really big for him. It has the Sage Glitch on the way, could even do trade Monopoly if he goes H4. Just needs to make sure he realizes the score difference is because of the heavy fortifications card. Very hard to kind of understand if you're behind or ahead when... Oh my god, the Corvin Royale is doing so much extra damage and applying that extra range that they have from the tech that they researched. Doing this very wisely here. 2 Corvins going down for Rohbrot, or 1 Falconet and 1 Corvin going down, and now the second Corvin going down with the Falconet. All the villagers also under attack here to these musketeers, but I think they're going to be okay. Greatcoats has been researched on the side of Portuguese, so we'll be able to just run back into his base. We'll lose 4-5 vills, but it's not going to be the most tragic. Missionaries being put into melee, having some incredible damage against these Corvins. What the hell? I don't know how that happened. I guess they're so fast, right? 7 movement speed on these missionaries. They can just literally swoop in and kill some of these Corvins before they can even disembark. Very impressive there. It looks like he wanted to do that the entire game. You saw it. Heavy cannon now doing some damage to the musketeers. Needs to find a way to counter the heavy cannon. Lancers, of course, can't get close to it. The walls are there. More Corvins being trained on the side of Rohbrot. Will be maybe just the amount of Corvin power that he needs to take out the heavy cannon. But another Corvin on the side of Kynesie, and it's also Royale, so it's way better than his opponents. Try and take out this. Oh, he's trying to take out the heavy cannon, but the volley from the heavy cannon, the Corvin just able to kind of shut him down. Now it's back to square one. Literally, TC being rebuilt, trying to secure this map control. Well, in the meantime, doesn't really necessarily need to be wary of kind of capturing the guanaco, the natural resources on this map, because one unique civilization bonus, in my opinion, for Portuguese is that a lot of the times when you're playing against Ports, you won't have as many late game cards as they do in the deck. So it's almost like a trait that Portuguese players have, that they're very equipped for the late game. And I always like to say, you can literally win the game based on the deck, which is very obvious to many people, of course. But the fact that this is going to 20 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes, and Kynesie has all of those late game cards in his deck, his eco is always going to be better, and his units aren't far worse. That's the crazy thing. When you have better eco and better units, that's a recipe for victory. Rohbrot training a galleon here. Spain have one of the strongest galleons in the game, or the strongest galleons in the game. Would have loved to see this a little bit earlier, the 2 caravels and the galleon when he was fighting earlier in this area. Dock still hasn't been rebuilt, but at this point doesn't really need it. Oof, a little bit of fight breaking out. More Falcon is being trained, but it's Falcon versus Corvins, but Rohbrot don't care. Rohbrot don't give no care. I don't know how that happened. Corvin and Heavy kind of getting sniped by the Falconets. How did he make that work? Now I know where Lionheart got his inspiration from. He first played Mexico, sniping Corvins from the Falconets. Still got a lot of work to go. He's got triple layer of wars to deal with. He's got TC fight to deal with. He's got potential CM to deal with. He's got outposts to deal with. He's got castles to deal with. I mean, only getting better here for Kynesie. 51 vills for him. Factories also trickling in wood at a very fast rate. So he could definitely in a good position. More Corvins being trained, and no real answer here for Rohbrot apart from maybe going H4. At this point, I mean, he's missed his timing. He's missed his window. So at one point do you kind of decide H4 is the option? Only a single TC here for Rohbrot. So 47 vills. That's 4 more than his opponent. But not for long, I don't think. Opponent is on 3 town centers. Building the mills behind his base. Current gathering rates on these villages, 0.77. Positioning those Corvins for the caravels trying to raid. Gonna be overly annoying, and wow, look at the 10 times multiply right there. Caravels have no chance. And that was a shipment that he wasted on these caravels. Real big bait going on here on water, it feels like. Really just kind of taking some good trades on water, which is, yeah, resources is kind of wasted. Even sending a frigate himself. Found the Galleon, but we'll be able to kind of defend the base and maybe even just... Very annoying. More Falconets being trained on side of Rohbrot. Maybe 7 is the magic number here. Also sending the AA card, so the advanced arsenal will, of course, have a lot of nice upgrades for these Falconets. I believe one of them is extra range. And maybe extra damage versus buildings. I always forget. Also have to keep in mind, Rohbrot is on natural resources this entire time. So his Gavin rate's a lot better. 1.09.
Hola.
See?
Building the second town center. Has no choice. Clicking in coin from every single TP line. Even the TP over here. That's more time Kynesie has to do some crazy stuff. And indeed, crazy stuff need to take place. Double fortified outposts in the front of the base of Kynesie. It's fortifying this area. Making this inaccessible to Rohbrot. Rohbrot really needs to feel like... Or figure out a way to break the base of his opponent. And it's going to be hard. I mean, he needs to approach from a nice angle. Obviously, up here would be nice. You have all the factories and all the mills, but there's something you need to just know about. Maybe Rohbrot does know about this. Actually scouting the TC area again with the Lancers. These guys deserve a promotion. This is the second time they've scouted that town center. Not sure about this wall for Kynesie. Not sure what this is supposed to do. Gonna be interesting. Maybe could... What about the CM from this town center? Oh, wow. Beautiful bait there. Baiting all of the village... All of the army from his opponent to kind of head to that direction. And pulling out the Culverins. Kind of expecting that's where he's gonna head. Taking all of the Falconets out almost. And Rohbrot was just getting ready. He even had 5 Culverins as well in his arsenal. His counter trade there. Losing 4 Falconets and killing 2 Culverins. Losing 4 Falconets, 1 Culverin, but killing 3 Culverins. Getting distracted, killing the outpost, has to deal with it. So you got the bombard attack on these Falconets, 155 with the missionaries close by. I don't think all of the missionaries are too close though. And even the Culverins with the missionaries behind do 62 bombard attack. That's one thing to keep in mind. If you're wondering how is he winning these trades when his opponent has H4 Culverins and he's H3. He's got the AA as well as the missionaries kind of helping him out there. But Kainesie's so cheeky there. Not even sure if he had line of sight on this outpost to see those Falconets. I guess he just expected that's where his opponent was going to head towards. Maybe that's why he built that wall there. I guess we have the answer to our question. I don't like where Rohbrot's heading. For Kynesie anyways. Like these Falconets. Their position could of course be sniped once again. Dragoons being trained for Kynesie. Castador's also coming out and 71 vills for him. And at this point he feels like he's really established himself. No vills in this TC. The last remaining villager being ejected. This TC is just going to once again buy time and also just kind of not really give Rohbrot much, which is kind of the motto here. Also trying to get some nice damage onto these Castadors. See how vicious they are. 2 Lancers are able to take out so many Castadors. The goons weren't there. This would be a huge loss here. Which is surprising. Only 2 Lancers, but very strong Lancers. Water fighting going on. Actually, a monitor ship being trained. Oh, yikes. Starting to really get frustrating for Rohbrot at this point. Yeah, Kynesie really just trying to be as annoying as possible. But also as effective as possible if you think about it. No real option here for Rohbrot to deal with this. I mean, he's training more Culverins, I would assume, but will they come out in time from this artillery foundry? Just doesn't know where to push, doesn't know what to do. Falconets galore, but I mean, Falconets on mortars, that's the thing. They get sniped very easily. Then you have to retrain them. They take longer to retrain. And then at that point, your opponent's rebuilt the wall. He's built another outpost. It's just constant kind of glitch. A back and forth, almost like an infinite. 64 vills for Kynesie. So did lose a few vills. 59 for Rohbrot. Guess the Spanish gold is so good here for Spain. Look at his resource income. I am in disbelief right now. Wonder at what point we're going to see the Drastek just full cancel on villages and just pure artillery stuff. I mean, at this point, only 3 bills on food, so he's slowly transitioning into that. Kynesie finally seeing this trading post. Could have taken this a lot sooner, just, I guess, didn't really want to venture out of his base. He does get the artillery tech from the arsenal. So one of these heated shots, I think one of them is more damage against ships, one of them is more range, one of them's more damage against buildings, something along those lines. I definitely should know this, I just... bad memory. Okay, infantry combat being sent here for Spain. Interesting. I don't know why you would send that. That's interesting. I guess at this point, what else? I mean, he's got cav combat? Maybe this is the best shipping he can send. So much going on at this point. So many attacks. I mean, monitor ships, frigates, and... now Galleon now going down for Spain. Will lose his dock as well. Rebuilding his church, rebuilding his artillery foundry, training another batch of 5 core, and then he really wants to make this work. I mean, we started off with an H3-2 Falconer push. Kind of a delayed push, of course. It turned into a 4 Falconer push, then it turned into a 5 Falconer push, then a 7 Falconer push. And now it's gonna be... it's gonna be an 8 Falconet with... oh my lord, 9 Corverins. Jesus. I wonder if this is gonna work here. It's gonna be really hard for Rohbrot for sure. Unless he pushes from the right angle, that's the real question. I know the fog of war here for Rohbrot, see where he pushes. If he pushes up from here, which is, it's like, it's so obvious that that's where your opponent's gonna have his weakest spot and kind of the most vulnerable position. It's obviously not gonna be here, right? Because that's where he expects you to push. Once again, the line of sight from the TC, giving those Corverins line of sight for the Falconets. And he's gonna get another volley off. So another Falconet going down, but does take out the 2 Corverins himself, but there's more Corverins to follow. And then again, the forward TC buying himself time and also giving him line of sight for Kynesie to just kind of keep his opponent away from his base. Who's gonna win this war? So these Spanish Corverins have 34 range. Can't even check the Kynesie. Oh wow, the Corverin Royales from Kynesie also have the same range. I didn't even know that. I guess with the extra with the Arsenal card, maybe that's what it was. I have to check that. So at this point, both Corverins have the same amount of range. This could be good for Rohbrot. Corverins is going down galore here for Kynesie. Also has to keep in mind that these Falconets only have 26 range, whereas these 4 to 5 outposts have 24 range. Oh wow, the monitor ship sniping the Corverin and the Falcon, or trying to anyways, and they're just backing off before the Corverins can get a shot off. That is so cheeky, almost like an airstrike there from these monitor ships. He's got a lot of stuff to work with, but you've seen it in many games. You can have 30 Falconets, you can have 30 light range cannons, and you can still lose against ports. Have to see here. It's like as long as Kynesie keeps pressing the Corverin button, he's gonna be okay. And the outpost doing some damage versus the Falconets. Corverin's being pulled forward. Another monitor shot right on the money there, killing most of the Falconets, and then some additional Corverins from the artillery foundry cleaning up. And at this point, it's back to square one. He's gonna have to retrain all of those units just for the same thing to happen. So 2 outposts do go down, gets a TC as well, but loses all of his mass in terms of artillery. And the Cazadors haven't really had their piece of action either. You have to imagine, I mean, these Cazadors they're pretty in a really high mass, if I'm not mistaken. He had like 30, 40 Cazadors, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure where they went. I guess a lot of them got killed by the Lancers, perhaps. Improved buildings now coming in for Kynesie. The 35% extra HP on his buildings. 40% HP on his buildings. Still trying to snipe this last Falconer, but almost like a full suicide there. Had the Corverins ready. Missionaries also being put into melee versus the Cazadors. Be able to take this out. 25 score for Rohbrot. I have to imagine Kynesie's scores officially very boosted due to all of the outposts and the heavy fortification card, as well as being H4, but he's definitely ahead in the score. I'd assume maybe 6k. Even more. 71 vills for Spain, 76 here for Portuguese. he's also getting his guard castadors from his barracks. Everybody's starting to fall apart here for Rohbrot. Kynesie also has full water control. And now he's just being really annoying. Now it's starting to get really annoying. This is every player's worst fear. Monitor ships on the shoreline killing your houses. And this output is never going to go up, by the way. Just very unfortunate for Rohbrot. So I guess the move was maybe to go h4, make mortars. Tried to make it work in h3. Of course, to a stagecoach, and I don't know, maybe h4 with the unction and maybe a trade monopoly could have worked here. But I felt like he just... Maybe Rohbrot thought he took a good trade with that first initial push. It was very strong. But the follower just didn't manage to get the job done. And maybe that's due to the timing, right? Maybe his timing was a little bit too late. Hence why it never really worked. Oof, Corverins versus monitor ships. Who's going to win this? Of course, Corverins very, very strong. But I feel like if the monitors get a nice shot off first and keep their distance, they could take out some of these Corverins as well. But in this case, very one-sided fight. Beautiful micro there. I guess beautiful attack there is the better way of saying it. See him for a little raid here with some 2 musketeers. Just really trying to smother his opponent from all angles. Really break him, I guess. Rohbrot actually getting more score than he had before. Interesting. I guess killing those monitor ships really helped him out there. Building a 3rd TC. Felt like he should have built that earlier, but I guess it really doesn't suit his playstyle, does it? Looks like Kynesie's on the offensive here. Coin's starting to run out here for Rohbrot. Actually has to expand to the middle of the map or even beyond the middle of the map to get this last coin mine. One of the last coin mines. Microing his villagers here to kill these musketeers. Oh, even has an organ gun in the middle of hit. Be really good. Of course, very vulnerable to any sort of lancer raids. Corverins being trained. I feel like there's some sort of a stalemate in this specific game right now. Resources are starting to run low for Rohbrot, so he can't really just spam falconers like he did before. And Kynesie, obviously, he's always been struggling with resources, right? He's only on 2 mils. He's got barely any space in his base, which I think is the reason why his eco was so bad. Literally nowhere for him to build. So that's, like, I guess, a rare occurrence, but it's an occurrence for sure. And now he has a little bit of space here. Feels a little bit safe here. Killed the TP, of course, no line of sight from Spain. Dropping down 3 mils. Got 1,400 coins, sending the rendering plant. And now got full water control, so he's able to take this back. But Spain being so genius. Rebuilding his docks. I was just about to say, this could be a really good opening here. Now that he's killed those monitor ships and the frigate, maybe he could go back to playing on water a little bit. He's got a lot of wood and coin and could maybe just train some more ships here. Ideally, everyone would like to see an H4 here from Rohbrot. But I understand. I mean, it makes sense why. I understand why he's playing H3. H4 is just, it's a huge time commitment. And when you feel like you've got your opponent on the back rope, you don't really want to back off, do you? You want to keep pushing, keep him kind of low, but you're short of your limitations. That's one thing. There's only so much those falconers are going to be being able to do in terms of sieging. And the Corverins, I mean, they're not going to be able to siege either. They're pretty much there to defend those falconers or any sort of artillery that you have. He's got 10 Corverins out on the field right now, but let's see. Always amazing how he managed to just pop out those 10 Corverins. I'm like, Rohbrot's barely got any resources, and then you see 10 Corverins, and you're like, what? 11 Corverins, actually. What is going on in this game? But missionaries are there as well. Imagine if either of these players trained like 5 cavalry units, melee cavalry units, what this game would be like. Full Corverin war here. And take down the slightly aggressive TC. I want to put the Fog of War here on for... Kynesie has line of sight here for a split second. Not quite sure how he was able to see that. I guess he saw the firing animation. Every time Rohbrot shoots, his Corverins reveal their position. Just can't fight that. Doesn't have enough Corverins, so it has to back. Actually does train some hussars. Just making another monitor ship from his dock. But Rohbrot, actually, he's not looking to control water. He's actually getting fishing boats. Actually does manage to get the age up in. Not sure we missed that, but age up not coming in for Rohbrot. Already on a second. Yeah, already set in one factory, so managing to squeeze up an age up. I guess when you have 85 vills, resources just pour in. I guess he's got so many vills queued up. It's hard, you can't actually see the age up when he's aging. So yeah, really nice play by him. Able to go H4. This could be a game changer. But we talked about the time that he's given his opponent. So what used to be a Kynesie kind of squidged in on the corner of the map, hiding in his base, is now Kynesie almost with mid-map presence and mid-map control. And now I think Kynesie is going to have the advantage, being H4 for so long, stabilizing as well. He's going to be able to play his civilization in H4, and you wouldn't say Spain is much stronger in H4 than his opponent, but gonna have to see. Veteran Dragoons, Veteran Hussars. A lot of Corverins, I'll tell you that much. Also fully established himself in agriculture, which is still something that Rohbrot needs to do. First estate's going up. I think he has a single mill, 0 food income, apart from water. I'm not so sure about that positioning on that factory, by the way. You can definitely tell Rohbrot is an aggressive player. He only knows forward. He never knows back, right? And the reason why he plays the factory so aggressively is because he's training heavy cannons, I would assume. And he just wants them to spawn out as close as possible. That's the only reasoning I can find for that factory placement. 2 factory placement, by the way. Veteran Hussars going for a nice little cheeky raid here, but it's a nice cheeky raid on the other side. It was really starting to pour in. And now Kynesie, as we said, is established in H4. He feels comfortable. He feels like his eco is very strong. He's got 89 vills, still less than Rohbrot, but that's maybe just enough. I mean, he's got 4 factories. He's got 4 economic agriculture. And now he's looking to shut down his opponent's eco very fast. Not only with the Hussars. Corverins taking out 1 organ gun. Hussars trying to send out to some of the Corverins. Villagers being killed on the side of Rohbrot, but Corverin war full in progress. Kynesie really kind of micromanaging this. Corverin Royale also being researched here for Rohbrot. These Corverins are going to be so much stronger than the Kynesie Corverins. Lose them, I think. He's in the line of sight to take these, I'm sure, but the villagers getting killed. Rohbrot now on 71 vills, so he was more vills than his opponent. He was on 94 vills, whereas Kynesie was on 89. And now Rohbrot's on 69. So just a full villager delete out of nowhere. I mean, the Falconets could, of course, get sniped, but instead the Corverin's getting sniped. Hussars also just being really good there. Very punishing raids. And the bonus, the reason why Kynesie is able to do so much damage to Rohbrot's eco like this is because he doesn't have to worry about his base. His base is so secure. He's got fortified outposts. He's been turtling for the last 34 minutes. And he's realized Rohbrot can't push his base. So he knows that he can very much push Rohbrot's base and doesn't have to worry about defending his. So that just gives him more APM, it gives him more kind of security, gives him more confidence. And it's something you see a lot of Turtle players also do. And you only need to do it once, and do it once, your opponent 57 vills, and you already start to outgather him very decisively. And that's kind of where your win condition really starts to show itself. And it's pretty much not done. Just really smothering him, just no protection, no walls, nothing. And I guess Rohbrot, what he needed to do is just really secure his base before doing anything. And at this point, it's going to be like a long-age game anyways. So aren't really going to finish the game in like a one drawn-out push anymore. But it's a common thing that you see. I've seen many games happen to me many times. I've watched this happen a lot of times where it's just, he's so secure on his base, he can just do all of this stuff. He can just literally right-click musketeers into your base, knowing that you have no walls, no sort of protection. This is kind of punish you for all of that very aggressive play that you did earlier, or aggressive expanding. They're really starting to fall apart here for Rohbrot. So there's a lot of eco to spend, but I mean, H4 rods being sent, infinite rods, has 4 Corverins as well as 2 heavy cannons, but mean, he's got a huge army, but at this point, it's not really army that wins the games. I think it's reached a stage where it's economy that wins the game. Switch with Kynesie. I mean, he is rolling in dough. He's fully blinged up. Really just wiping Spain from the map. Getting rid of all the houses. Slowly progressing. Got his base. Looks like a typical aftermath of... Oh my lordy, what the... Jeez. What is this? It's from the native tech? I have to check that out in a sec. Oh, really good text here for the Portuguese civilization. $100 in crates for every 2 minutes of the game length, up to 30 minutes. So 1,500 coin he received from that tech. Talked about the game knowledge of Kynesie, and talk about game knowledge right there. He knows exactly what he needs to do, but could of course get the villager upgrade as well. I think that would be really good for him. 15%, if I saw correctly. Oh my, mortars now coming out for Kynesie. Factory's gonna go down, and that's so unfortunate. Not sure about that factory placement. Maybe Rohbrot just really overconfident. But also maybe just, I don't know. Yeah, maybe just using this to train heavy cannons and in the end losing his position. Now losing the factories. And at this point, I think it's safe to say this game's GG. I mean, there's no real way for Rohbrot to... I don't feel like there's much opportunity here for Rohbrot to kind of win this game. Because he couldn't push the base earlier. And I don't think his scaling is better in terms of civilization, but maybe with the Unction card, as we said before, but feels like he's got a lot of catching up to do. 46 bills, I mean, it's not going to be a joke, especially when you're on a single TC. And your opponent's... Oh, wow, Corbin Micro is on point, though, for Rohbrot. Holy smokes. He's been in this situation many times. Jesus. I feel like that's a victory by itself. Corbin Micro here for Rohbrot, very OP. Stagecoach also now being kind of claimed for Kynesie here. Gonna add to his very strong eco already. Moving those falconets forward to take out the mortars. That is so funny. Chasing down mortars with falconets. I've seen it all now, I can say. Rohbrot not giving up with a fight, I guess. Also has the heart of a lion, apparently. Rock under fire. Full water presence here for Kynesie as well. So he's got half stagecoach, full water. Very good agriculture. Some of the gathering rates. 1.17 on food or on these mills now for this villager. Really insane gathering rates. 1.09 is with steel traps. These are villagers now gathering faster on mills than on natural resources. But I guess they'll probably be faster still on Guanaco because refrigeration also applies to hunts, now that I think about it. But still very good gathering rates. Here's to see the estates. Is this the first estate going up for Kynesie? Wow. So even though, you know, you look at Kynesie and you see him turtle for this long, I mean, he definitely has to put a lot of work in to make this kind of work, right? I mean, he's building his first estate 38 minutes into the game. I mean, what does that say about, you know, the kind of stamina he needs to have to even get to that 38-minute mark? Now training hussars as well. Something we obviously wanted to see, but we also see Rohbrot train musketeers very much preparing for these hussar raids. But even if the hussars take out a few culverins for the 3 culverins of Kynesie to do the rest, that's enough. Suicide going in there. Just really want to quick check out the gathering rates here for these settlers. 0.55, okay. I guess it's obvious when he hasn't upgraded the states. 3 culverins going down, more full culverins coming in for Kynesie. 3 culverins for Rohbrot, but he has 5 falconets. And now he's pretty much on the back ropes, and this is usually how these turtle games kind of end up. No one's gonna, like, no one's really gonna win a fight. That's what it feels like. It's just gonna be, one person's gonna look at the score and just eventually resign. That's how it works. You never really see a clean or wipe. I guess it's because both players are maybe tired after like 39 minutes of complete chaos. It's like, they're struggling to kind of get to the finish line after a marathon. But I guess he's finally going to make the cleanup happen. With these hussars pouring in, he's going to be able to take on most of the missionaries. Cazadores can snipe the the missionaries as well. More musketeers coming out for Rohbrot, really not giving up, but in the end does cool GG, losing the game at 40 minutes. What an incredible game. I mean, wow. Pretty much how I would have expected this game to go if you had asked me in the beginning. Because you look at the styles of both these players and you think to yourself, wow, this is exactly what you'd expect from this game. Just a big struggle from both sides. But, I mean, what do we say about that game? I mean, where could have Rohbrot, how could Rohbrot have won this game is a real question. Maybe if you pushed faster, people would have argued. Maybe if you went H4 faster. Maybe if you went for a revolt. A lot of options here, but a lot of questionable decisions or questions. It's hard to say what would have happened. I think his initial push was beautiful. I think it worked so well, but the follow-up just wasn't there, and the CM just absolutely smothered him. If he was able to maybe clean up the CM faster, he would have had so much more, but he lost so much. The CM, they just got in there and just started brawling. And Kynesie, of course, just, I don't know, wasn't prepared for the Falconer. He wasn't prepared for the Falconer timing push. And for Red Greedy H4. And always a struggle when you play Turtle. It's a skill by itself. It's so brutal. It really is. What a game. Resource-wise, of course, way ahead for Kynesie, as to be expected. Was the end. The factory is just doing all that work. Even with the stagecoach, Rohbrot just can't really keep up. I guess most of that resource gathering was towards the end. Whereas at 28 minutes, it was actually pretty much on par. Yeah, so towards the end. So I guess the stagecoach can keep up. Very impressive. So if all of the stagecoach with Spanish gold helping Rohbrot out there. Check out the military unit count. This one. Rohbrot pushing with 56 or 46 unit population. And at this point, Kynesie doesn't have a single unit trained. This is pure CM, I think. Just loses everything. It's very hard. Very unfortunate. I think that's pretty much it so far. Villager population. Huge raids coming in here. Just look at this. 96 vills versus the 87. And then goes down to 46 in a matter of minutes. 33 minutes. By the end of 36 minutes, he's on 45 vills, losing half of his eco. Very explosive raids. And you can see Kynesie's very... I think he's very... He knows exactly that he can do that. Just all of a sudden, he decides to just raid like crazy. Yeah. Just imagine if that was Inca and Chimu's. Oof. Yikes. Alright, guys. That was a cool game. Very cool game. Let's head into the next game. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Hopefully, you did enjoy the last game. It was kind of very hard to cast towards the end. Of course, you never really know what's going to happen, but you also know that it's a turtle style game, so there's a lot of passive gameplay for a long time, a lot of waiting, but very enjoyable game, very intense game, also an experience to watch. All right, let's head into the next game. Big shout out to everyone. Thank you so much once again, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Just going to update the score as well for you guys. 1-0 for Kynesie. Hi, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? So before we head into the second game of the second series Obviously, everyone, make sure you're prepared. Make sure you've got your snacks ready. Make sure you're cozy in your bed and ready to just watch some of the best players in this game go crazy in the middle of the night. I guess this is a memory for everyone. But I also want to give a big shout out to Crab God. Obviously, he's been sponsoring this tournament multiple times. It's the second series of the UEC tournament. So we wouldn't even be here and we wouldn't be watching these incredible games if it wasn't for him. A big shout out to him. And if you want to support the tournament, if you want to kind of follow this tournament, make sure to drop a follow on Twitch or just follow Discord, or I guess just talk to Crab God, say thank you, or whatever. Just yeah, I just want to show my appreciation towards him and of course everyone else who's working on this tournament before we head into this next game. But without further ado, let's quickly change the settings and into game number 2 of the second series of today's stream. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back once again to the second game of today's stream, or today's series, Rohbrot versus Kynesie. Something we saw, of course, from a mile away. Hauser being played by Kynesie, but also Rohbrot playing China, something we've seen him play in many tournaments. Only now playing on the map Texas in the top side, Rohbrot in the color orange, picking up a nice food treasure in his base. Seen a lot of games by China on this map from Lucas L early, and no spoilers, definitely did a really good job on this map, and maybe we're going to see a similar style from Rohbrot here. Obviously something that he likes to play, plays very well, kind of matches his style. Rohbrot has that H3 flair. China also has one of the better H3 timings in this game, and also a lot of strength in their strategies as well, and a lot of food treasures on this map as well can excel his H2, H3, and so on and so forth. But the other side, we have Kynesie, I think easily one of the best Hauser players in this game. If there's anyone who's kind of established himself in terms of Hauser gameplay and is kind of adapted to their weird playstyle, it's Kynesie. And respectfully, Kainesie's kind of a weird dude. I mean, he's a very strong turtle player. He does a lot of strange strategies, but he makes them look amazing. And in this case, he's going to do some amazing stuff with Hauser for sure. Something I've seen him do many times is the Air Berber build with the TPs into Corsair Marksman. I think he is one of the pioneers from the strategy. Also want to kind of make you guys realize that this guy's come up with a lot of strategies. I mean, we look at A's and we say he's come up with a lot of strategies and stuff like that, but I think Kynesie is also one of the pioneers for a lot of these newer civilizations and stuff like that. Inca Fast Fortress, for example, I think that was due to him, so you can all thank him for that. I know you guys probably enjoyed the Inca Fast Fortress Horeca spam. Am I right? Am I right? Nice treasure being picked up here for Kynesie though in the middle of the map. ATXP, definitely something he's going to be able to use very early on. Of course, either sending Polaka Code or the Emmy of Katsina. In this case, he's going for the Polaka Code. Interesting. Would have expected the Emmy here. Something he loves to do, but Polaka Code, really good. Card that excels his villagers' gathering rates on natural resources by 15%. And this starts to scale around 18 villages, if I remember correctly. It's going to be a minus card in terms of being better than 2 villagers in H1, which is also a card he has available to him. But when he reaches 18 villagers, that's when it starts to be really good and beyond. So he kind of needs to send in 4 villagers in H2 or the Air Berberas with TPs. Gonna have to see. Yeah, Polaka's Code coming in. Where's Rohbrot building the 2 villagers, sending in the Northern refugees. Gonna get those 2 villagers from the villagers. And of course, the extra villager from the town center. 3 stray sheep treasure. Under fire. Gonna get this as soon as possible. Reason why he wants to get this is because these 3 stray sheep will go into the village and fatten a lot faster than your average livestock. But in this case, we actually do see Kynesie kind of creeping up behind. Gonna go for this. Could of course do some range damage onto these bandidos. These bandit riders, should I say. Let's steal this. Only 3 sheep, and does actually manage to get it. Nice play by him. I have to imagine Kynesie has huge use for livestock. We do say only 3 sheep, but these are 300 potential sheep that could be sold for 300 coin and 300 wood. Rohbrot really doesn't want to give this away to Hauser. I'm gonna slow down the Hauser Explorer. Get to the sheep, but Kynesie is on this. Very much prepared. He's gonna back off after now with a single kick. Nice little steal there from Kynesie for sure, considering the fact that he's also picked up a lot of cows on this map, which Texas provides. So in the outskirts, you have all of these cows hiding in these little corners. Really good map to pick cows on, if you ask me. Any livestock map seems to be decent for Hauser. What if he's going to send in another H2 card in H1? Sorry, a second card in H1. And now aging up to the second age, going up with the Summer Palace. It's, I guess, the faster age up, 3 minutes roughly, whereas Hauser's still on 3 minutes and 7. Even going for the hardened iron axes before aging. This is incredible. Like, that's a 40 food technology that he's getting before even reaching H2, which slowly indicates that he's definitely planning something. I don't think you would go for that technology if this wasn't a specific build order that he's doing. 12 villager age up, hardened iron axes, gets the age up around 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Switching 11 volts onto wood. Food treasure being picked up. Definitely no excuse to age up late here, especially seeing as you have food treasures all across. And then also has a shipment ready in H1. Not really sending anything for it, but maybe could send in the Hauser Kingdom. Now, Rohbrot does get the faster age up, as we said before, chopping a lot of wood himself. Also has a shipment ready in H1. Also want to note that he didn't go for a trading post. So that's one thing to keep in mind. No trading post for Rohbrot. Maybe indicating that he's going to go for some sort of H2 play. Of course, you see H3, a common thing from Chinese players without a TP. And then the early villagers from the villages. Let's get that faster age up in. And in this case, of course, the faster age up coming in. And that's going to mean faster 400 food as well from the Summer Palace. And faster usage of the shipment he has ready. TP's being built for Kynesie. Chopping a lot of wood with the iron hardened axes. The marketplace tech. Also selling a cattle to make the second TP. So that's 1, 2. And you can tell that he's building these 2 TPs with intention, right? I don't think you're not going to see an average stagecoach or something. You're going to see something a little bit different here with these TPs. Which is obviously why he wants to build them. Sending the Hauser Kingdom right on time. A little bit late. Granaries now also going up on both sides, trying to herd in some of his deers. So the age up for him is going to be Moroccan. So not the standard Hauser age up that you see. This will give him XP upon aging up. And I believe it gives him a mosque wagon in H3. Not sure if it gives him a mosque wagon in H2. Definitely feels like he is going for the strategy that we've seen him do many times. The Moroccans, Corsair, Marksmen. We're going to dive into that a little bit later. But for now, he's just building trading post and native post to get the Berberus in H2. So for every native post and every trading post that he receives or has, he's going to have an extra Berber. I think it goes up to maybe, how much? 6, 8? Is there any limit on these? I'm not even sure if there's a limit on them, but a lot of them are going to come out. These are villages that have better gathering rates on natural resources opposed to agriculture. Hauser Kingdom now coming in on time as well. Once he builds this, it will give him XP and also give him, of course, influence trickle if he builds a university. Also building this in a beautiful position right next to the trading post. Also the TC, so that's 0.75 extra influence trickle from this positioning on this university. Sending in the 4 villages as well. We talked about the Polarcus Code being a card in H1 that kind of scales at 18 vils. So the 4 villages kind of has to be the shipment here. And then maybe Air Berbers behind. Very greedy, as you can tell. Very greedy. Also want to just quickly check. So, there's a technology that he can get in the university that enables him to train a Corsair Marksman, which are skirmishes in H2. And here we have it. So, the Armana garrisons. I think he also has to kind of build the outpost, right? It doesn't necessarily give him an outpost. No, I'm wrong. So he does get the Watchtower outpost. Wasn't sure on that, but he does get the outpost. So now he's going to be able to train Corsair Marksman skirmishes in H2 instead of Fulani from this Watchtower. And this is exactly what he's been kind of doing in most of his ladder games and winning against some of the best players with this build. And I think the reason why he wins some of these games is because many people don't know what to expect. They don't know how this works. Yeah, now with all of the trading posts kind of being built, obviously selling wood for it, chopping wood pretty much with every single villager. And then also getting, of course, trading post wagons from his age up or from his House of Kingdom, should I say. It takes a lot of time to build them, but he does get them out, and now will receive 6 air Berbers. But want to check in on Rohbrot real quick. Obviously, haven't really checked in on him in a long time. 6 minutes and 15 seconds into the game. Will be aging up to the 3rd age. 6 minutes and 20. Sending his 700 coin into 700 wood. Doesn't have the best macro. 200 coin over. Could have maybe aged up a few seconds earlier. I feel like he could have aged up a little bit earlier in general because he still has the livestock here. 233 food on these. And then he built the TP in transition, which is, I don't know, it's always kind of a questionable thing because you have to imagine age 1 TP would have scaled so well in terms of XP. But then you also know that an extra village is pretty sick as well. You see actually using his native post as a barracks essentially, or a stable. And in Cheyenne, or sorry, Comanche horse archers. 13 range attack, 15 siege, 200 HP. So not the craziest, but definitely decent. Especially if you get any sort of techs on them, which also have. They have a lot of native upgrades if you have the right deck for a nice micro. Doesn't manage to escape from the wolf though. Sparrow going down from China, Disciple going down as well. But I love the fact that he's training units, right? Just making this strategy more viable, right? You pretty much got a base that is 4 villages, but so unprotected. But look at this, 26 vills. And just look at the gathering rates on these vills. 1.46 food per second. That is insane. And I'm going to check coin as well, because I think the Berbers don't work on coin, so they just gather normal on coin. But yeah, 0.69 here. 1.49 is absolutely through the roof. Let me check out the Berber, actually. Sorry, 1.46. And then the standard village is 1.18. Summer Palace Army trying to do some damage to the trading post, or the native post. More Comanche archers being trained. Actually doing a lot of damage to this trading post, I think, for split second. Oh no, only 50. Marketplace being added on the side of Rohbrot with the 700 wood. Porcelain Tower being his age up. Also adding a consulate. They're going for, I guess, more of the old school age 3 China. You're not going for the Russian consulate blockhouse start. Doesn't even have the TX4 card in his deck. It's a very old school sort of China build here. And one thing about this push for Kynesie is that I guess it does come in quite late, but he's got a huge window here. Like, it's very easy with the strategy to kind of fight versus H3 stuff. Unless you're expecting like a huge timing push like Spanish FF, then it's a little bit different. You of course have to be defensive, but if you got this timing and your opponent's like still aging, I mean, you can be so aggressive. You've got insane units here. 15 range attack, 20 range damage. 15 range attack, 20 range. 4 times multiply against ships. 2 times multiplies against light range infantry, and then also, of course, 2 times multiplies against infantry, heavy infantry. So really good at shutting down pike units or musketeer units. They have low HP but really good stats, I think, is how you look at them. There was something about them. Oh yeah, the 40% range resist. That's the big factor of these Corsair marksmen. Huge 40% range resist. Pretty much uncomparable to these arquebusiers at 30%. Always gonna kind of just lose that trade, especially in early age 3 or late age 2 here for Hauser. Also want to check out the cost as well. 105, 115. It's not the best units if you really think about it, but it's definitely decent for sure. Considering the fact that these are gonna scale, I would assume, in the later ages. Because these are mercenaries, essentially. Only gonna get better. And when you have these units in H2 combined with an insane eco behind this, you can see it reflected in the score. Also in the middle of the map, barracks going down as well as a village. And there's no way for Rohbrot to really defend this. You know, he's trying to go H3, he's trying to build up his mass. But when you have such a huge military strength to deal with as well, it's like, I mean, you can just get wiped so easily. She has enough resources to go H4 almost. He only needs 1k food, and trying to pull off an H4 against the, I don't know, against a very greedy Hauser player. I mean, that's his best dream and Rohbrot's worst nightmare, I think. Now it's pretty much go time for Hauser. Sending in Lafidi as well. He's got influence through the roof. He's even sending in these Sahelian kingdoms, which is, we talked about the native cards, right? This is where we said the Comanche archers are going to benefit from Hausa being kind of their master, because Hausa is one of the better native civilizations in this game. Or yeah, if you want to go for native strats, Hausa is a good choice. And he has double of these. Usually, there's another one in H1, I think. Or, of course, the marksman being trained. Not sure what this is. Oh, Comanche archers. 33 rolls. Could go for stagecoach if he wanted to. So got fully fattened animals here on top of everything else. Just look at his army strength. You know, usually you'd say look at his army mass, but I actually want to say look at his army strength. 40% range resist on these Corsair marksmen, javelin riders shutting down any sort of cavalry unit, and then the raiders with their really good siege, but then also the Lefidi with their dual resistance, which has been nerfed, by the way, in the recent patches. 430 HP, insane. Rohbrot really struggling right now. Really trying to pull off this H4, but this is the worst time to go H4 against the worst game to go H4 if you think about it. It's a great map to go H4, but I think it's very hard against Hausa. You can't really allow them to do stuff like this. I mean, you allow them to go full greed, and then also punish you like this is just pretty much inevitable. Fusion Academy being the age of choice here for Rohbrot, but Village is getting sniped. Aquabus is trying to hold the line, but can't really. Miniman being popped on these raiders, and of course marksman being trained. H4 just about to come in, but doesn't even have a shipment ready in H4, which is unfortunate because he had to send in the skirmishes to defend his base. But of course go for the red coats, trying to anyways from the consulate, but can't really pull this off just yet. I think he needs 400 export. Raiders trying to kill some of these very low HP. Corsair marksman 95 HP. That's the same amount of HP as your longbows. 104 now with the card that he sent in. And I've seen this, you know, I've seen Tabin have the same problem. Actually, Age Up now coming in does get those beautiful, huge amount of arquebusiers from his Age Up. Of course, the Flying Crow on the way also gets his shipment ready from just this constant fighting. But will it be enough? The Lefidi now sending out to all of the arquebusiers, being split on both sides. More Lefidi being trained. And at this point, Lefidi versus arquebusiers, that's a story that you don't want to hear the end to. Village is going down as well at this point. Rohbrot is on 10 population space, so even if he wanted to train units, he couldn't even. Hence why he's got all of these villages on the wood line now being discovered by the Lefidis, just really falling apart once again. GG being called on the side of Rohbrot. Interesting game. Actually saw this game not too long ago. I think it was a Revnak versus Tabin game. And it was on the map Highlands. And Tabin also attempted a fast industrial. You always have to keep in mind, I mean, sometimes fast industrials work, but it depends. It really depends. I feel like you just feel it, right? I think it's just a feeling you have. This game, I want to go fast industrial, and then it works. But I don't know if fast industrial is very good against Hausa because they're just so good. I mean, they're scaling it. You leave them to do what they want to do. I mean, you're going to get the full OP whipping, respectfully. Rohbrot really tried to make that work, just a little bit too late. It's just couldn't really pull it off. Unfortunate, but nice try. And the second game does go towards Kynesie. Just to see if Kynesie managed to lose a few games in the next few games that we have to cast. Rohbrot, of course, still has 2 games to play until he can play his main civilization. He's played China, played Spain. So what is his third civilization going to be here? We're going to see a different style of Rohbrot. Resource-wise, ahead for Kynesie. 15k, 12k for Rohbrot. Economy-wise, obviously very far ahead with those extra resource gatherings and those villages and military units. Also more for him. 35% marksman, 25 arquebusiers. 34 villages towards the end of the game. Just constant production. Wow, look at these beautiful dips. Every time he sells a cattle, you can see the difference right there. Or the crates or whatever. That's just how he keeps up an eco. It's beautiful to see, actually. And let's head into game number 3. I would assume that game number 3 is going to be quite something. Obviously, if Rohbrot wants to stay in this tournament, he needs to win game number 3 and of course, needs to win the next few games if he wants to advance. So let's see if he manages. Give me a few minutes, guys. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the second series of today's stream. This is game number 3, Kynesie versus Rohbrot. This is, of course, a match point here for Kynesie. If he wins this game, he would advance into the next round and, of course, have a better chance of winning the beautiful prize pool that this tournament has to offer, but still has to get through Rohbrot's Brit. Now, Kynesie spawning on the left side in the color blue, playing as the Japanese civilization. And I know someone said in the chat, curious to see if Kynesie plays Inca in the next games, but not a single Inca game being played here for Kynesie, and maybe that just kind of shows you how he feels about Inca. But it's also kind of a statement. Kynesie is a really good Japan player. I think I've seen him play more Japan in offline games, or I guess just random ranked games, than he has actually played Inca. So he's definitely well experienced when it comes to Japan, and we saw an absolutely beautiful build order by him earlier when he was playing his games. So this is going to be an interesting one. He's very, very good with Japan. On the other side, we have Rohbrot playing as the British civilization, and this makes sense. I feel like Rohbrot would want to play Brits, and gonna be quite interested to see what kind of strategy he goes for. Not necessarily the best map to pick Brits on. I guess you do have a fairly decent amount of hunts, but you also have to expand quite a bit, and you don't have a TP to go for GMT. You also don't necessarily have a lot of trees as well, which I think is a big thing to mention here, right? You're playing a British civilization which have huge bonuses with those longbows, but you barely have any trees to chop from, is my experience on this map. So we're gonna have to see how this goes for Rohbrot. Seems okay. I mean, doesn't necessarily need a TP, of course.
Yes.
I know it's changed a lot since the last patch, but you know, standard Brits never really needed a TP unless they go for VC. But in this case, finding himself a nice 2 stray goat treasure, which will also give him XP by killing those hyenas to send in his first shipment. Maybe you can see the timing. A little bit slower than his opponent, heavily Kami being sent in for Kynesie. Really nice timing on the side of Kynesie, already getting that slight advantage for his start, going for the consulate, and then allying with the Portuguese, not building a shrine as of now, just going for the Hanami parties from his marketplace, but then getting XP from all of these structures, which is very important to mention. First shrine going in the middle. Of course, could have maybe waited for the Heavenly Kami to come in because he gets a cheaper rate on the shrine, so it costs 25% less wood. But he's not waiting for this, which is quite interesting. Is he going to time this? No, what am I saying? There's no way he already built this, but has a nice wood treasure over here as well. So maybe we're going to take this wood treasure afterwards and then realizes he's going to be able to build the second shrine regardless, and the third shrine is not really going to be something he's interested into. Mana house start here for Rohbrot, going for the 3 mana houses. So really good stuff for him. Usually you see 2 mana houses, but I'm going to assume he found himself a nice treasure there. Check real quick. On a 25 wood treasure. Maybe chopping some additional wood. Wood treasure now being contested on the side of Kynesie. That's going to be his second shrine. Age up wise. It looks like Kynesie is going to get the faster age up as well. Has more food than his opponent, 11 vills. If we look at this matchup, I mean, Brits versus Japan is an interesting one for sure. We've seen this many times. We obviously know about this matchup quite well. A lot of people, as we said before, say that this is very good for Brits in the early game. High pressure. Could, of course, go for a huge timing push. Kind of overwhelm Japan with a huge amount of units. But then you also look at Japan in the late game and you think to yourself, this is better in terms of late game scaling for Kynesie. We're just going to have to see here. Also interested to see that, you know, Kynesie is, as we said before, known as more of a defensive player, but you can't really be defensive that much when you're playing on a map like this as Japan. You have to expand because spread out hunts, limited coin mines. I guess he has a better spawn than the last time we watched Japan play on this map. Definitely gets starved out if he doesn't do some stuff on the map. I think we watched a Lucas L game earlier on this map and it didn't go too well for him. With treasure being contested here, 70 XP, huge treasure for him. Already has a shipment ready, and with that extra 70 XP could be big, but Explorer from Rohbrot already there. Orchard actually still scouting the map. Very key point here. We're finding a lot of the resources, a lot of the extra treasures, a lot of places to shrine up the map. And every single player on this map is going to fight for XP. This is a scarce resource. Who needs food? Who needs wood? Who needs coin? When you have no trading posts and XP is just the only resource you need to send in your shipments. Let's get stolen here on the side of Rohbrot. Gonna be happy about that for sure. Does actually get the faster age up in the end. 18 villager age up for him. So very impressive age up time with the 18 villagers. Not bad. Check out his deck. 3 vills in H1. No need to have VC or any sort of card in H1. Pretty much standard map for, or standard deck for a very standard map for him. 5 vills in H2. A lot of crates. Does have the siege archery in his deck. So one of the newer cards that allow his longbows to apply siege damage. You see it very effective against turtle civilizations. So Kevin used this against Fragrance Army, Opti BB in his game. Ottoman versus Brits, able to siege everything down with those longbows. The job for Kynesie will be the Toshogu Shrine, I would assume. Yep. And last time we watched him go for this sort of strategy, of course, the standard Toshogu Shrine, one of the stronger builds, combined with heavily Kami and Portuguese, if not one of the strongest builds, or the strongest build here for Japan. We saw him go for, you know, a very semi-FF type Japan gameplay. Like, he built 15 shrines or 14 shrines, and then he went H3 at around like 8 minutes. It was very impressive. H2 now coming in here for Rohbrot. Outpost will be his age up policy. 200 coin on the floor, 700 wood being his first shipment, and already see him scattering most of his villages or manor houses towards this area. Wants to secure this location. A lot of food here. And that's exactly what you expect here from Brits. Just expand with the manor houses. Ideally, you would see some manor houses over here, just constantly pushing all of these hunts towards your base. And then play full H2. This coin treasure being picked up, 85 coin. But once again, Kynesie's just on point here. Both sides trying to build shrines. And then just finds himself this 85 coin treasure, which is huge for him. That's going to help him so much with any sort of text that he decides to get. Even has 2 shipments ready in H2 now. 600 wood following as his first shipment. And then coin afterwards. Currently on 7 shrines, with the big shrine is 8. Doesn't have any gatherers on this big shrine, but does have a full batch of ostriches behind. So this is going to definitely impact the gathering rates of the Toshogu Shrine. Toshogu Shrine also increases all of the other shrines around it, which you kind of forget to mention. You have to imagine, like, Heavenly Kami affects these shrines. Portuguese consulate affects the shrines, and this one as well. So you kind of imagine how his eco is going to be in the near future. So getting his second berry upgrade, running on 16 vills. So not going for the 4 villagers or double 4 villagers either. Check out his deck. See, sending in these 2 shipments first. As the sustainable agriculture. Interesting. I think this could be a really good card for him. Almost like the Great Hunter, of course, minus 10%, but with Japan having extra resource gathering on your orchids on top of like having shrine eco could be pretty big. Combine that with refrigeration, you already know what's going to happen. It's again 600 wood coming out. Check on Rohbrot. 5 minutes and 40 seconds into the game, building his barracks. I think this is a little bit of a late barracks, but steel traps also coming in. They're doing a lot of things all at once. Also booming quite heavily with these manor houses. And of the 700 wood coming in, he's going to make a lot of houses and have a very decent eco. So pretty standard H2 Brits here, but I think this is exactly how he needs to play. It's just, is it going to be effective? That's the real question. Is it going to be enough? I think is the more important question. But if I was playing Brits on this map, I don't think I'd play any different to how Rohbrot's playing. I don't think there's much else you can do. H3 is not viable. H2 is pretty much all you have to do, and VC is definitely not viable. Slow your momentum so much. Second barracks also being placed. Guess he's going to be up to a 4th bomber double barracks with the extra villagers he's getting out. Speaking of villagers, maybe going to send in the 5 vills next. This feels like a really good map here for Kynesie. No wonder we saw Japan being picked on this map solely. We saw a lot of players pick Japan on this map, and for good reasons. Barracks now being placed here from Kynesie. 6 minutes 25. Check out the scouting here for Rohbrot. He knows the location of a lot of shrines, both sides. This is definitely going to help him out in terms of not wasting time with these musketeers. Instantly going to head it over to the right direction and apply damage. And then 5 villages is his next shipment. Going to switch some villagers onto coin and just spam musketeers like crazy and pray for the best. Like we said before, it does have a nice window in early H2. Against Japan, they struggle so much against early aggression, but as we said before, Kynesie doing his build that he's been doing so often recently, and he's going for it again. Kind of the 14 shrine semi-FF. Now the Shogun are coming in here for Kynesie, and this is exactly what he did earlier, and it was such an effective build. No surprise that he's trying it again. Looking for more shrine placement. All shrines for him. Trickling in additional wood. Building the wonder with 8 vills. Wonder what his plan is going to be in H3. I mean, Ashigaris are going to scale very well in H2. Way better than these musketeers, you would assume. With the aura effect. And then also, of course, the daimyos. Sorry, not the daimyos. The attack cards that they have, as well as the Japanese consulate. I think it's 7% extra. So they're going to scale really well in H2, but think about it in H3. If you think they're going to scale very well or better than these British musketeers in H2, then just imagine how crazy they're going to be in H3. So maybe a lot of Ashigarus here for Kynesie just makes sense. In this case, only one Ashigaru being trained from the barracks. Unfortunate. We'll get XP from the Shogunate from his age up. With Daimyo being the key word here. Chips a Daimyo Masamune and 300 XP. Similar to like the Moroccans on this side of Hausa, where you just get that XP surge and you're able to spam shipments in H3 and just really overwhelm your opponent with the momentum difference. And then also his eco is really, really effective, but he's also losing a lot of shrines at a really rapid rate. Really good job here by Rohbrot. Really, really good job here, splitting his musketeers, and you can see the score difference for Rohbrot. Check out Rohbrot. On 11 mana houses, 40 vills for him. A lot more aggression here than Kynesie faced up in his previous Japan game. Also sending the 700 coin behind us. 700 wood, 600 wood, 5 vills into 700 coin. But I really want to check in on Kynesie because this is his go time. This is literally where he shines. Gonna pop out the Basterias from the consulate. Chipping in the 8 Ashigarus, most likely from his daimyo. And then he's going to send in the 2 flaming arrows as well from his daimyo. And it's gonna be hard here for Rohbrot to deal with the flaming arrows. They're gonna have a lot of damage versus them, but even the Ashigarus, which aren't yet upgraded, but will be maybe in the near future. Yep, Ashigaru upgrade coming in. Also the aura effect applied to all of these Ashigarus, and every trade he gets here is gonna be huge because keep in mind this is a desert map. You can already expect there's not gonna be a lot of resources on this map. So every musketeer that goes down here is going to be so much more painful than if you were on like Great Plains or something like that. Really nice trade already starting to begin here. Rohbrot really feels like he can win this, but obviously he's scared of the Basterias, but he's just really baiting out his opponent. He wants to fight. He knows he's probably going to win this trade, but with the flaming arrows on the way, most likely being shipped to the Masamune, that's when Rohbrot kind of realizes he may have effed up if he decides to fight. Really just trying to bait him, get him in closer, and then just kind of pop those flaming arrows on top of them, but doesn't fall for it. We'll kind of go back. You can see instantly heading towards this area with the flaming arrows, not wasting any sort of time. Really just wants to apply damage. Doesn't want to lose any more shrines. Losing 4 or 5 shrines already. Every civilization has this sort of struggle against H3 artillery, falconets, even flaming arrows, even though they have lower HP than falconets. Not much, but still. And they, of course, don't do as much damage. They're still very, very deadly. Hunt's now being pushed here for Rohbrot. This is one of his last hunts. Already 9 minutes into the game. See splash damage being applied. Basterias being really, really aggressive as well. It's the damage difference on these Ashis. 31 damage versus 23 damage. HP-wise, 204, 150. And then you just add to the fact that you have Basterias, which have multipliers against the Musketeers, and Flaming Arrows, which do splash damage. It's insane. A beautiful composition here from Kynesie, and just very hard to deal with. And the fact that he has this unit composition with Japan, and the follow-up is there, right? There's so much follow-up for Japan. He's got more Ashigarus following behind. He can ally with the Japanese consulate. He can make more flaming arrows if he wanted to. He could train units from his Masamune. His eco is going to be insane. He's going to be adding shrines whilst pushing your base. I mean, it doesn't stop here for Japan. It really just, it continues. Just imagine if Spanish, you know, the Spanish civilization had like insane eco behind, like Spanish gold times, I don't know how much. Very effectively, very easily, without even having the Spanish shipment on it, but quite done yet. Villagers being idle, being pushed back onto a different hunt. To Rohbrot, more musketeers being trained, actually going H3 himself, so obviously not massing up in H2 is definitely going to hurt him. Trying to match the age up of his opponent, which many people tried to do against Japan, but now your base is going to get pushed. You're losing houses, which isn't the worst thing for Brits, but he can actually get pop capped. He hasn't gone for like a full 20 mana house boom. And I think the thing he doesn't want to lose here are these barracks. Yeah, maybe if he massed up an H2, would have been able to put up more of a fight, but really trying to match the H3 of his opponent. Kind of doesn't want to fight this in H2, which makes sense. Really hard to as well. I mean, how do you deal with the flaming arrows? Hussars, maybe, but Ashiguri is being so deadly, it can be hard. Nice pop there on the Musketeers from the backline. Actually getting forced around on some of these Ashiguris, but most importantly, the flaming arrows. But nice work on the side of Kynesie, putting the flaming arrows towards the side, just buying time for the Ashiguris to kill the Musketeers in the backline and actually surviving with 2 flaming arrows. And now it's really starting to kind of come into play here for Kynesie. More flaming arrows being shipped from the Masamune. So even if he did lose those 2, he had another 2 on the way. Shipment ready here for Rohbrot. Can't upgrade his units, doesn't actually have the time to. I mean, he's training units from his barracks. Sending into 2 Falconers would, of course, have a lot of damage against the flaming arrows, but it's a little bit too late, losing those. Musketeers just getting sniped all across the globe, having to be idle. More Musketeers popping out. Still hasn't got his upgrade in on his Musketeers. Indeed, he would need a 3rd barracks. Minimum being popped from the TC. Bastira is still alive. Ashiguri is pretty much just carrying this entire game with the flaming arrows in the backline, but in terms of score, 2k ahead for Kynesie. But as we said, the follow-up is there. Shrines being added, I would assume. If the Kynesie's on, I would assume 160, 150 population space. Sending in the Nagis behind this. Interesting move. We're putting the villagers trying to get the flaming arrows, but it's a huge commitment here. You're going to get 1 flaming arrow, and you're easily going to use, if anything, these Ashiguris are going to want you to try and attempt to kill these flaming arrows, because it's such a bait. Masamune almost going down, 18 HP being pulled back by Kynesie, but just a sloppy fight, really trying to hold this, but he can't really, and even if he does, you have to ask yourself, what is his position going to be behind this? He's lost so many bills. He's on 22 bills at this point. Oh my lord. And the flaming arrow is still alive, and the Masamune even still alive as well, and now the Falconets pop, but I tell you what, look what's going to come out of this Masamune. 5 Nagis before he actually gets sniped. The 5 Nagis coming out just to seal the deal right now, and that's pretty much all she wrote. That's just a beautiful play in the end, and GG well played being called on the side of Rohbrot, just kind of, yeah, giving Kynesie the credit he deserves. What an incredible build, what an incredible game, what incredible players, and wow. 3-0 versus Rohbrot. Didn't really expect this game to go, or this series to go the way it went, but can't lie, I think Rohbrot played pretty well. I mean, the first game was exhausting, the second game was unfortunate, and the third game was just unlucky, I think is the better way to say it. But yeah, that was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful series to cast. Enjoyed it very much. It's a shame. I'm a big Rohbrot fan. I'm obviously kind of gutted to see that he's not going to advance, but I know there's more to come from Rohbrot. He's one of my favorite players, one of the most interesting players to watch. But yeah, what a fight. I think it's safe to say he played well, in my opinion anyways. So yeah, he definitely a delight to watch in the end. One thing I do want to say though is Kynesie is insane. What a player. I mean, hats off to Kynesie for sure. And in the next matchup, or in the next round, next matchup, he's going to be playing against Kaiserklein. So what are we going to see? Are we going to see some Inca versus Kaiserklein on a water map? Are we going to see some Hauser? I mean, how does Kaiserklein deal with the Corsair marksman strategy? I'm curious. What is his sort of answer to that? There's going to be a lot of knowledge in those games for sure. I know a lot of people suffer against these sort of builds on ladder. So this is going to be a good kind of... yeah, it's going to highlight how to beat these builds from Kaiserklein. He's going to show you how it's done. This is just going to teach the community. I would assume if he does beat them, never know, Kynesie could just easy stomp. It'll be an interesting matchup for sure. Can't wait. And I'm sure you guys are going to be excited as well. But for now, I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. Check out some of the last stats. Rohbrot way ahead in terms of eco, but I guess military strength not there. Timing push not there. Kind of beating Rohbrot with his own sort of medicine. Just the H3 timing push from Kynesie. Just usually what Rohbrot likes to do. We see his boom as well. Wasn't the highest, but just losing all those wheels in that fight. But yeah, GG indeed. I enjoyed those games for sure. I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for everyone who's been here. I know it's so late. I mean, for me, it's 1 a.m. or something. 1:38 a.m. And I, of course, have a lot of energy, but those games definitely gave me a lot of energy. Very beautiful to watch. But if you enjoyed the streams today, like I said, be sure to follow UEC and just keep up to date. I mean, it's already kind of worth it to follow the Twitch stream because you get the notifications so you know when we're going to stream next, especially if we don't announce it. But yeah, thank you so much once again for being here. Hope you enjoyed. I wish you guys a pleasant evening. My name was Lena. I hopefully see you guys real soon. Lots of love to everyone in the chat. Big shout out to Ziki001. I saw you from the very first games So it's such an honor that you're still here. Big shout out to Katofajo, one of the most knowledgeable people in the community. Big shout out to Kaleli, easily one of the most lovable people in the community. Big shout out to Passy. Big shout out to Home2349, Simi X. Love Simi X, and big shout out to Gaja as well, and everyone else. And I'll see you guys real soon. Bye-bye.